There
Let's
we
get
go.
the show on the road.
Yes. Home cooked brown. Oh, is this? Are we going back to? Are we Ainsley Harriet this week? Ready
Yeah,
to
man.
give it this.
Giving it a bit of that. It's
Yeah,
like
man.
jazz hands. I'm so happy to have a working fridge so I can store food in
Oh man,
and just be able to make food from home. And that was great. And then also it's double whammy, man. Like, or double. It's not even a whammy. It's a great thing. It's like I was home for a few days as well, so I got home cooked food from mum and dad. It was amazing. I've got like also they gave me a bunch of vegetables that they were growing. So I essentially did my shopping at my mom and dad's because they've been growing a bunch of vegetables. It's amazing. And so I got like parsnips, carrots, spinach, tomatoes, and stuff like that. So I've just been cooking up the parsnips, carrots, and sweet potato, getting ready for the week ahead. And yeah, man, so good.
I love
Just
it.
so happy.
We just picked up where we left off. It's like Lord of the Rings 2 right now.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
like
man.
Sam and Frodo chatting about food again.
We're on our way. We're on our way.
That's
And
it.
yeah, it just feels so good. So I prepped it this morning, like right before the podcast. Just I pulled it out the oven and I was like, I'm just so happy. Just so happy to have my own food and home cooked. And it feels good and it's nourishing, man. Nourishing.
That's a great shout, man. Do you know what? This week I pick it right up from where we were last week. I made some salmon this week, and I said to my mum, I was like, I would not want to be in a restaurant right now. Like,
No,
take them all, and just get to the back of the queue because this is the only thing that my soul needs right now. You just said nourishing for the soul, right?
that's it, man.
That's exactly it. I know that feeling, man. This week just made it simple, made it the end of my day, and I was like, it's probably a bit too much fat for me to digest right now, but
Right.
it's gonna go down so well that my like
Yeah.
the subsequent benefit on my cortisol levels are gonna fall through the floor, and I'm just gonna be like in this
Yeah.
euphoric state. Me and my salmon, are just happy as
That's
hell.
it, man.
Yeah, man. That's sometimes you gotta look like calories not always calorie. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
that's
man.
like
No,
what kind of state
exactly.
does that calorie put you in? Like, yeah, are you digesting it well? Do you just feel good about the world right now because this calorie just put you in a good place? That's it, man. That's
Completely,
it.
man. Who
Well,
needs MDMA? Just have a good home cooked salmon.
fuck yeah.
It just sets you. You just love everything and everyone around you.
Got that shit on tap, man. Just here, just get that salmon in the pan, cook it up some MDMA. There you go, done.
Yeah, that's it. Home cooked MDMA is like this is not a class on how to make drugs at home. This is we're
Breaking
talking
Bad would
purely
be a
like
very
salmon.
different show.
Yeah, exactly. Salmon is not a code word for anything else. We're actually talking about salmon here, and that's how good it makes you feel.
Love it. Yeah, man. It just makes me think like Breaking Bad would be a very different show if we directed it. And this week, did you bring the salmon? Did you bring the
Yeah,
salmon? Yes. What do you want?
exactly.
Here you go. Here's the salmon. Cooked it well. Yeah. Oregano. Yeah. Thyme. Yeah. Ooh, good.
Oh,
Good.
all
This is a
cooked,
good
man.
show.
You
Yeah.
said it correctly. Yeah, man. That would end up being a home cook show. 5 seasons worth.
Love it. Love it.
It's quite.
Love it.
What's
I
cracking,
think
man? Easy like Sunday morning today.
oh man, just some good vibes, man. Just some good vibes. Usually the routine on a Sunday is wake up and train before the podcast.
Mm,
Today I trained with a friend really early, and then we end up going for like a Sunday brunch lunch kind of thing, just straight
yeah,
after.
cool.
Hardly ever do that. You know, what I mean, routine wise,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of always quite regimented, especially through the week. 6 a.m.
Mm,
start with clients, and that runs all the way through to weekend sometimes. And
mm.
this week it was just this today just feels like a very feels like I'm on holiday. You know what I mean? Feels like I'm on holiday, and that's just
Yeah,
like, where did this come from? Like
yeah,
I'm totally just vibing off of this
yeah,
day. I feel like I'm just savoring it like that salmon.
yeah,
It's lingering on the tongue, and I just feel like I feel like it's the start of lockdown. You know, you're just like, oh, guess we're home now. Great.
yeah. Maybe
That's
we'll
how I
just do
feel right
this.
now. Yeah. Yeah, man. Try not to make too many bad choices in one day, but yeah, we got nothing
Yeah,
to do. That's it. We're
yeah,
good.
exactly.
Good.
That's wicked, man. I felt like that yesterday actually because I've been since lockdown. I've been doing sessions on Saturday mornings as well,
Uh,
and so yesterday was the first like weekend. Well, this is the first weekend I haven't done any like sessions with clients, so
mm,
I didn't have to be in the headspace. I was like, oh, that feels a little different today, and
mm,
yeah, so it's cool, man. I see what you mean.
that's
I know
nice.
what you
I
mean
like that.
because
Yeah.
this does feel like a couple of days off for me, which is a bit strange, like, but
Nice.
yeah.
I like a Saturday morning PT session with a client. Have you noticed this? I
Mm.
don't know if you pick up on the same thing, but when was the last time you were in a commercial gym for personal training?
Oh, it's March, right before lockdown.
Okay. Is your place a commercial gym? Like anyone can just train there, and you're a PT on the gym floor? Is that how it works?
No, it's a private PT gym. So
Oh,
the only people who go in there are personal trainers with their clients. That's it. There's
got
no,
you, got you.
there's no members of the public just walking in randomly.
No. Okay. So what I remember was like a Virgin or like a Nuffield Health,
No,
that kind of
no.
public gym. Quite a while ago.
Oh, that was a while. Yeah, that was that was a long time ago since I've even had to be a member of a gym as
Oh
well.
wow,
So yeah, because wherever I've been able to train there,
nice.
and yeah, long time, boss.
See, the reason I asked, right, because my observation is that a Saturday morning it's almost like like migration in Africa. You see these like so there's mating season in the wilderness. The wilderness are making their way across the Serengeti, and then it cuts to the lion. It's like just looking across the plains, right? So my version of this is Saturday morning in a commercial gym as a PT, right? You go
Yeah.
in and you have your clients, right? So you're training your client, but occasionally you look around the gym floor and you see what's on the plains, and it's always women, like
Okay.
of all ages. Saturday morning, there'll be a few blokes there, but by
Hmm.
and large, I guarantee this. Everywhere I've ever trained, my experience, right, it will be at 85% female dominance on the gym floor from around about, I'd say, 6 in the morning till about 9, and then men start strolling in more, and then the percentage ratio changes, right?
Right.
Every single gym I've ever worked at, that's a public gym floor. Even sometimes even in PT private PT places, like you said, I feel like it's more female dominated first thing on a Saturday. In the week, I think it's a normal split, but on a Saturday morning, Saturday or a Sunday morning, I feel like the females are always in first before the men because they've probably got shit to do and got things to get
Hmm.
organized. And generally, I think are more organized than us anyway. And
Yeah.
yeah, then around about 9, 10, 11 o'clock, you just see men kind of like strolling, rubbing the sleep out of their eyes and just kind of,
Yeah.
oh, come do some curls, yeah, do some
Yeah.
curls. And it's like, yeah,
Train
okay,
that hangover out.
yeah. I don't know what that's about, but that's generally one of my observations for being on the gym floor. Just like, oh, okay, this is good. And I think as a male PT, I don't know what it's been like for you, but my client split has always been, I think, more female dominated. It's been the other way around at times as well. But right now, I'd say it's actually right now it's quite an even split. But it's going the way where it's more female dominated. What do you find?
At the moment, yeah, actually, you've just caught me at a phase where I've got more female clients than I have male clients. So just
Mm.
about, so it's
Yeah,
just
okay.
over, it's nearly 60%. Yeah, actually, interesting that you asked me that question because otherwise it's usually 60, 40, 70, 30 male to female for me.
Interesting. Yeah, so I was just going to
Mhm.
say, like, any PTs watching this, that's a great prime time to pick up like female clients. And like, if you're going to put on a
Mm.
class, do it on a Saturday morning because I guarantee there'll
Right.
be more females in the gym for you to firstly talk to, and then potentially pull over and be like, guys, going through a class, going to show you something. You think about doing a different kind of workout? Let's go, but let's get this show on the road. And then that
Yeah.
obviously always can lead to a consultation, which can lead to you working with somebody. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, just an observation of the gym floor that I think is quite a valid one.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Interesting. What do you think, in your experience as well, to women clients just hands down just being harder workers than the male clients? Because
Every day of the week.
yeah. Okay. Interesting, man.
100%.
Because yeah,
Yeah.
I was curious about. I was curious about asking that question because I've heard so many people say that,
Hmm.
and just trying to corroborate my experience with that. It's not for me, not necessarily true. I think it's pretty even. I'm trying to think of like the hardest working clients that I've had. Um, so just thinking about it on the other end of the scale rather than just in the averages.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, I don't even think so. Like, I'm not sure, but like for a lot of people, a lot of other trainers, like anecdotally, I've definitely heard them say, women
Hmm.
hardest workers in the room compared to men. I see that in the gym floor as well. Like I do see that the women who go, they like I can just see their focus is a
Hmm.
lot more is pretty intense. I'm thinking of one person in particular who was a client of a guy I was working with, and just every time just brought it, just was just in that zone every single time. So yeah, I was just curious, like, what's your experience with that?
Yeah. If I rank it like top 3 hardest working clients, I think they're all female. And then after that, not to say that I don't have clients, especially right now, and even in the past, been male and really kind of gone at it. But I'd say that from day one, my first ever client was a female. Smashed it out of the park every single time. Second client, female, same thing. I find that, like, I don't know whether actually I don't even know why it is, but yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on the fact that they just have they're almost ready to rev from day one. Whereas sometimes with a dude, there's I don't know whether it's like they look for the camaraderie in it too much too soon, and they almost want to kind of warm to it, and then eventually they get going. Versus females are kind of just there, and whether it's a thing of I don't want to come across weak, so let me show from the start that I can push and I can do this, and also like if it's expectation on themselves that they're fully aware that they're paying for something, they want to get the most out of that value for time, but investment for time ratio. Maybe it's that. Maybe they're kind of much more aware of that. So yeah, man, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm with the consensus on that. The fact that females, they push themselves now. They push themselves in that. I see it, like you said, on the gym floor as well. If you looked at, like, for instance, this morning I was at Pure Gym, right? And you look across the gym floor, I'd say there's more females that are in shape than men. There's more men in the gym, but there's only a few men that I can look around and be like, yeah, he's in shape, he's in shape, he's in shape. He's actually the product of the work is put in the right direction. Whereas a lot more of the females, I think you can probably go into like image consciousness and kind of like how media is kind of making people kind of fit a mold. But I'd say that the females all looked like they were getting on with their stuff more, so they're much more into their workout and just general volume. There's one of the girls in the gym today. I think I must have seen her do like 10, 15 sets of back squats. I'm just like, shit, that's a seriously dense workout. Like, there's a lot, a lot of activity going there with deadlifts, with everything else. And that's across the board, man. That's across even the gym that I work out right now today. It wasn't the gym that I work out, but yeah, I definitely say that.
Yeah, interesting, man. I'm not sure what I can pinpoint that down to. I don't know what particular traits on average there might be that make it different for men and women in terms of effort that has been observed on the gym floor. I'm not sure.
I'm gonna say that the Jordan Peterson thing sometimes can kind of, I think, shoehorn its way in. I don't know how it correlates to the female, but for the man, I think also in like, I'm in Leicester right now, right? I'm not in London, and it could be different in London. Like, I train a few guys on the phone in London, and I can see the gym floor kind of operating behind them, and it looks pretty even split. It looks like everyone's kind of getting on with it, but I don't know whether it's a lower ambition thing in a place like Leicester or further north you go, where you see the archetypal male as is described sometimes by Jordan Peterson, where sometimes it's like a bit lacking in ambition, a bit kind of lacking in direction, and then that comes out on the gym floor where they're just doing the easy shit, doing the easy shit, and then just kind of making a lot of noise about not a lot. And whereas on the other side, you see kind of women who, whatever the driver, I don't know the driver because I'm not one, but it just seems like there's more of a fire there. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what I've got. That's what I've got on that.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. I wonder also, like, just completely spitballing as well, just the idea of so men kind of showing off to other men and also trying to show off to women in the gym as well. So there's something where you want to look like you're doing the most, like you want to look like you're lifting the most amount of weight potentially, but you're making it look like you're doing all that kind of stuff as opposed to actually doing that kind of stuff, right? So there's that little bit of ego drive. And then when there's women in the gym too, it's also kind of looking around and just making sure that, one of them catches you doing something, something that looks, makes you look like you're an alpha male kind of thing. And it's like, when really that's the most beta shit that you could be doing. I don't know. It's just completely. It just is thought that came to my mind is like it's a playground. The gym is a playground for fronting a lot as well.
Yeah.
So I wonder if because it's predominantly male, there's a lot more room for fronting there. Whereas with women, there's maybe like on average there's more intimidation stepping into a gym and especially stepping into a weight room. And then when they do, they actually experience so they actually are like there to just bust out the work, rather than show off to some other people there because there's less people for them to show off to.
Yeah, and that's I like what you said there about showing off or having a mind on showing off in the gym, and then thinking it's an alpha thing to do, but then like you just said, it's the most beta shit to do because there's 40 kilos waiting to go on that bar, but because you're looking around and you're distracted, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about the girl over there doing her workout. You know what I mean? But really, if you're not worried about her and you're putting the weight on the bar in some weird roundabout way, you could actually qualify yourself one day to be like, oh, okay, I've actually done the work now. So she might look across and be like, oh, that guy looks like looks like he knows what he's doing, rather than that guy's looking at me again. You know what I mean? Like, piss off, man.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That creep over there.
Yeah, just ready back to his empty ass barbell, just ready to. There he is, looking at me again. It's like, okay, great. That's interesting, man. And I think also that because the gym is more dominated by men, in a this is gonna sound proper harsh, but like in a beta male's eyes, right?
Yeah, man.
You've got more competition, right? So you need to almost bang your peacock feathers more. So then they don't become like a dick swinging contest around like, oh, I can kind of make the most noise over here, and I can kind of peacocking, right? So I can kind of wear the shortest shorts to the gym even though I've got no legs, and it's like, what the hell's going on? Like this, and then you walk into pure gym and you just like, I feel like I was there today doing a workout. A workout started with ab wheel rollouts and farmers walk, single arm farmers walks, right? So like hard shit, right? Hard shit. Like the accessory work that I didn't get done this week, so I'm gonna go and get this shit done. And then you spend your time looking around, and these guys on the platform behind me, and they're doing sumo deadlifts, and all of them are weighing like 80 kilos and up, but there weren't ever more than 50 kilos on this barbell. I'm just like, what's going on here? Like the girl that was using the platform before you was doing rack pulls of 65 kilos, 70 kilos without chalk, so with chalk, with no straps, with no belt, and you're here doing sumo deadlifts. All of you outweigh her by 30 kilos and have 15 times the testosterone, but none of you are even a lick close to where she was repping with. It's like, what the hell? Where did we get? How did we get here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that was just like, and do they look at what that smacks to me of like people who don't know what they're doing, basically. But yeah, exactly. But not like in that. But it sounds like they're doing it like they don't know what they're doing, but they're looking at each other as if it's like, yeah, man, we know what we're doing and we're G's, So,
kinda, yeah.
Right.
I'd see that. Like, you've seen Jungle Book.
Yeah.
Book, right? There's like the vultures are like the who are they supposed to be? They're supposed to be the Beatles, I think, right? And they're always asking each other, like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah,
what do you want to do? And it's like, guys, come on, just figure it out. One of you go on Testosterone Nation. One of you, please, just get it up on your phone and just find a Christian Timothy workout and don't stop until you look like Christian Timothy. That's it. That's you. Like in a sentence. There you go. Right here, take that all the way to the bank, right, and keep going. And like all of you, go to Primark and buy a 3XL hoodie, and then until that hoodie is tight, don't take it off. Just keep wearing it. Right. That's the rule for life. I remember. Like, I thought about that this week when I was training in the gym, right, and I was kind of looking around, and there's too many men. This is going to turn into such a rant, right? There's too many men who
right
are
away, bro.
Like,
this is great.
in their like 40s, right, who should know better, right? And what I mean by that is they're old enough to know like the Metrex generation, right? The training gyms that are not clean, training gyms that are just entirely full of hammer strength machines and very little cable stuff and very little cardio stuff, but stuff that's going to make you grow, right? And not always functional, not always correct, but you're going to get mass, right? And there's far too many of these men walking around the gym with a medium-sized Gymshark t-shirt on, which is really a small, right? Let's be honest, right? It's like, what this is this now? It just shows the betification of gyms that these guys weren't around to put the work in back then, but now you feel super confident to kind of stroll around in the gym with your tight t-shirt on, and it's cool because everyone else is doing it. You know what I mean? It's like this is what happens when we like allow the inmates to run the prison, right? This is what happens. It's like it just goes to shit, and like these are the people now strutting around the gym. It's just come on, man. We're better than this. We
Oh
need to
man,
be anyway.
yeah, that's jokes. That's interesting. Like, because with that hyper commercialization as well. So the environment that I'm specifically talking about is commercial gyms as well. So there's obviously like there's bodybuilding gyms and then there's powerlifting gyms. There's a completely different vibe in those places. Just I haven't even set foot in them, but I just know. I know it's going to be. It's going to be about getting that work done. And but it's purely about commercial gyms, which is what most people have access to, and that's the only thing that they would know, or that's the only place that they would know to go to try and get into shape. But along with that is like, okay, well, you need to have the active wear, and then it's not just about having the active wear; it's about having the the Lululemons and the fucking the whatever thing you got to look good in, because it's not enough just to want to step into a gym and train. You got to step into a gym and try and look the part, or whatever the fucking part is. And then you just got like, you got people like that who just stroll in. It's like, all right, well, I'm going to get all the gear under the sun and I'm going to make it look like I'm already like, I know what I'm doing. But just don't worry about not knowing what you're doing. Just don't try and fake it, because in the gym, faking it till you're making it means you're going to fucking hurt yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to screw yourself up, or you're just going to be wasting your time. You're not going to be doing anything useful for yourself. And then that shines through like pretty quickly. Like people who do know what they're doing just realize that you're just wasting your own time. So just don't be too like, just ask for help.
But that's it, right? You got so much ego in this place. There's this guy in the gym Thursday, and he's got head to toe Sergio Tacchini sweats on, like grey,
right.
looking just straight dapper. And I'm looking at him, and he's got flip flops on at the moment. I'm just like, come on, man. We're not in Ibiza right now. Like this is not acceptable. Like it's just what the hell? What the hell? Are you here to train? Are you here to just like flance around and just strut around with your new sweats on? Like what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? And then you're almost seen like a bit of a weirdo. Like I'll set my bag down and I'll take my shoes off. That's the first thing I do when I train. Is like I want to be in socks, or I want to be in ideally I don't want to wear anything in my feet because I want to feel the floor, especially if I'm doing anything like leg work. I want if I'm squatting or if I'm doing any kind of lunges or split squats or whatever. I want to feel the floor. You know what I mean? I like that. And whereas on the other end, it's just this is just weird, man. This is just super weird.
This was well, that's Gym Box.
Oh yeah,
you ever been? Yeah, you know anything about it?
No, I had a client who used to tell me his account of Gym Box, but go on.
Oh man, I want to hear that account as well, because when I was moving away from my place and I was just looking for places to work, and like just thought fuck it, and I'm just going to put my CV everywhere and see where it goes. And like I'd interview at Gym Box as well, and it's just well, let's put it this way, it is not my vibe. Right, it is anti my vibe. It's just basically you're just having a fucking rave while you're training. Like you're like, especially in London, because most of the gyms are going to be underground, so they've got this whole lighting system. They even have a DJ that comes in the evenings to bust out tracks. He's got his own setup in at least in this particular Gym Box that I went to. He's got his own setup, like in like this. It's not even a mezzanine. It's just like he's got his own platform overlooking the gym, and he's got his DJ kit laid out there, and it is just loud. It is just music. It's just basically you're at a club, but you're training in the gym, and it's like that the whole time you're there. And then it's just more of a club vibe when it's in the evening, when they bust out the DJ as well. And so I was there for, I don't know, 45 minutes or something. And it was just doing my head in. It was so badly doing my head in, because I just couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. This just constantly. I was thinking, imagine being there for like 12 hours a day, like working there. There's a certain type of person who works for it. Definitely, I ain't that kind of person. And I just, so like, hyper commercialization is like you're trying to pull people in any kind of way that you possibly can. And you get something like that, and it ends up being popular by the looks of it as well. And I just don't know, man. I can't relate to that whatsoever. And like, yeah, I don't know. What was your client's account?
Similar, but he was. I think he mentioned the DJ, but he was more talking about the guys that are in there, and
Right.
thinking that they're on Muscle Beach in California. And
Yeah.
it's like this guy who give me his version of events. Pretty jacked. Like I can show you his pictures.
Right.
When we train, guys stacked. You know, what I mean, like especially through his
Right.
midsection. Like you know, when someone's got a thick midsection, you know they're
Yeah.
about it, right?
Yeah.
That's a
Thick
sign.
torso.
That's like Chris Benoit when he's like his
Yeah.
this is as thick as his shoulders. You think, oh, I'm not gonna fuck with this guy, right? Like that's
Yeah.
how he is, right?
See,
And
that's the thing. So there's the other way around as well, which is like I call it the European male look, which is like, you know, you're super slim and like your shoulders are that narrow and your waist is that narrow as well. So it's like that's not how you want to look. But he's the other way around. He's like, you look at his shoulders, like this motherfucker's broad. Then you look at his torso, it's like his torso is as wide as his shoulders. What the this is wrong. So there's a proportion, but there's a difference.
Well, must have to like work out a ratio between like how wide is your head and then how wide is your shoulders and your waist. It's like, oh well, if they're all or even some kind of muscle composition thing or whatever, right? Anyway,
Exactly.
he's dead through his midsection. And
so it's the Zara man. That's what I mean. Zara.
Yeah,
You know
I love it.
That's what. It's the Zara man. Not like because they took that from like the European style, inspired by that, and it's just the Zara man. Basically, you're just like you're a rake.
Yes. It's like just the mannequin in the shop. That's you. That's you looked at it going, yes, I need that in my life. No one needs that. That guy's not leading anyone to war or winning any battles or saving people in a burning building. It's not happening. Unless you're Spider-Man. If you're Spider-Man, cool. But
Exactly.
No.
That's
I can't remember him telling me, but he basically saw this guy in the gym, and he's got these like Specsavers on. The Specsavers. He got these specs on that are like remember like Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Yes.
Across the front and then into the sides as well. He's walking around with him in the gym, and at the same time, he's got a stringer vest on with these short shorts, and it's just normal. And he's looking around like, is this a Twilight Zone right now? Like, am I in the right place? Like, this can't be real. Everyone's just accepting the fact that this guy is just totally. I'll tell you what happened today at Pure Gym. This is wild, right? I didn't even know how to react, right? So I'm training with my friend, right? And I'm showing her how to do face pulls. Well, how Shallows does face pulls, right? So like kind of purple thoracic flexion, thoracic extension, and working to integrate that intent into our workout. So I was like, okay, cool, really, this is interesting. Teach me, and whatever. We go from there. And we're doing this face pull, right? And this guy just walks across the front of imagine like the cable stack is here, the cable's pulling out, and she's standing here. She's pulling the rope kind of towards her. She wasn't actually using the rope, she's using two handles. And he walks across to try and get something from our cable stack, which is totally fine. Go ahead. And he nails his head off the you know the swiveling thing that like say you pull the cable swivel with it. He just cracks his head off that thing, right? And doesn't even react. Like doesn't react even a little bit. Like just and the whole thing just like shudders. And both me and her are looking at him like, the fuck's wrong with you, man? Like I was tall. He was like at least 6'5", right? He was a tall guy.
Wow.
I'm looking at him like this. He's a tall guy, right? Nails his head off the thing, and then just like goes back to his thing. And I was just like, what's wrong with people? You'd look at us and just be like, have a little chuckle. Oh, stupid, right? Nothing.
Yeah.
Not even a look, not even a glance. I'm just like, this is just weird. This is. I've not been in a public gym I've not been Pure Gym. I think Pure Gym is of all of the gyms. If you go to the gym versus Pure Gym's different. It has a more anarchy vibe to it, not in a good way. It's like you watch like Batman from the 90s, and there's like the street gang just out there. Those people go Pure Gym.
God, the Batman and Robin, Joel Schumacher one,
yes,
just like clowns who are street robbers and shit like that.
Exactly. Those people, right? That are just like, what's wrong with you lot? Like a lot of you people are just friggin' wild. And this guy did this today and just looked at. I just thought like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck is going on right now? This is wild. But yeah,
So what was, is it? Is it about like the fact that he hit his head and acted as if nothing happened?
that
He
amongst
just
like the fact that he hit his head in the first place, that you can't miss that damn cable thing. Like if you're gonna go under it, go under it. Make a proper attempt to actually lower yourself down. You gotta go down there to get the thing you want to get anyway. It's on the floor for God's sake. And not that
yeah.
it was hot was super low anyway. But just the absolute nonchalance around, I've just nailed my head off this thing. And there's two people who've clearly seen it because she's holding onto the cable that it's attached to, right? And she's like, her arms are going like this because he's whacked it, he's wedded it that hard with his head.
Oh shit! This is while she's doing the exercise.
Yeah, legit. Well, I'm coaching her through the movement, and you can imagine.
Okay,
Right?
that makes it even more wild. Because like she's in the middle
on the
of
ropes doing this, right? That's what you got to picture right now. Like Dave Bautista on the ropes, just wailing the ropes up and down. And both, if you look at me and I look at her, and I'm just like, did that just happen? Did that
oh
really
god,
just happen? And then deadpan, just goes back the other way, and clips his thing back to his thing, carries on. I'm just like, I don't know if he felt it. I don't know whether he's just like too high on whatever he's high on, but wild, man. Wild.
Okay, that cracks me. Okay, having you finish off the visual for me, that did it for me. That was brilliant. The fact that she was mid-exercise and he whacks his head so hard that she's shaking the rope, and the geezer's like pretends it doesn't even happen. Like doesn't even apologize that he might have like fucked her up or anything like that. Oh god, that's wild. That's funny. I thought it was just like you two were standing there and this kid just whacks his head. And you're like, what's happened here? But then just the extra bit right at the end that did it for me, man. That set me.
She'll never forget Faceballs. That's it. Faceballs makes it in my mind. As this guy walking past, cracking his enough to say, and just giving no fucks to it. Just yep.
Oh man, that's funny, man. There's that reminded me of like two hyper embarrassing moments for me in my life. And I'll tell you the second one because that's a bit more relevant. Me personally, yeah, is like where I'm like, yeah, I'm cool, and then I do something and I'll fuck it up so badly, people see it, and there's just no hiding from it. There's just no hiding from it. And it hurt, man. It was like my guts just went like that. I just curled up. And my heart was just like, I want to stop beating right now. My lungs were like, I'm just gonna cough out. I'm just gonna get out of you. And like my stomach was just wanted to fucking vomit out everything that I was feeling. But they were so funny as well. So I'll tell you about the second one because that's what it reminded me of. Because the geezer's like whacks it in this instance. The geezer just whacks his head so hard, but tries to pile off as if nothing happened. When so I always used to go through like Liverpool Street Station when I was getting to work, and I've got my backpack on. I've got my overhead headphones on. And was like I think I was wearing a hoodie and some jeans, and normally, so I'll enter the station and like where the buses usually pull up, and there was like the entrance that I took that time. On the other side of it, there were like barriers. I had to go around like that, and I forgot about that bit on this particular day, or like maybe I took a slightly different entrance, and I just didn't realize that I needed to basically back on myself and then come around it. And so this is going into the station. So what I did was I was like, oh, this thing's low, man. It's fine. I can jump this. So I put my hand on it, and then I went to just like leap like left leg over, right leg over. Put my hand on. Jumped my left leg over, my right leg got caught, and I went. So like Peter Griffin in Family Guy, it's just when they're like falling, they do their falling skits, and it's like one frame they're standing up, and the next frame they're on the floor. That's exactly what happened to me, man. It's like 1 minute, literally in a millisecond, you're standing up, and the next second you're on the ground, man. God. And it was chest first. I landed as if I was doing Supermans. Basically, I was like, bah! Just landed with my chest on the ground like that. My face was just planted, like I just turned my face so it didn't quite hit the ground. My head, because of the like vibration, my headphones just came flying off, and I had my backpack on my back as well, so this is extra weight, just for shits and giggles, and just pancaked myself. and I was like, I just picked up my headphones, put them back on my head, just shrugged my shoulders a little bit. Yep. And I just carried on walking exactly where I was supposed to be walking to. And I thought, oh, fuck, this is embarrassing. But it's fucking Liverpool Street Station. It's not like no one's going to see that, right? So there were a couple of people around me who must have seen it, and then they saw I was okay, and they're like, whatever, he's fine. Because no one wants to have their day interrupted in case somebody gets injured, right? And they're like, this geezer need help. But there was a couple that was sitting on the chairs, and they were just enjoying like a McDonald's basically. And they were about 20 feet away, and they saw everything. They must have just turned at the right moment and saw this dude like just jumping the barrier, but instead gets his foot caught and fucking lands flat on his chest. And they saw it, and I could see them crying with laughter. And I had to walk past them because that was the direction I was going in. And I was just like, oh God, these two people have seen it. They're dying. They're trying to hide themselves from me because they see me going in their direction. And they're just basically covering their face like this and just trying to eat their McDonald's. And I could just see, the shoulder shrug when someone's laughing hard. Yeah, exactly. I could just see them going off on one. And I was like, oh God, I have to go past him. And they're just laughing at me, like in front of me, to my face, at me. And I saw, and like I locked eyes with them as well. And I just went, you know what? Shit happens. Just got to own it. And that's exactly what I said to them as I walked past. And that was it. I just owned it. I just walked past and I was like, yeah, all right, everything's going back to normal again. And yeah, just if I didn't say that, if I didn't acknowledge it, you just feel like a bit more of an embarrassed prick. And I acknowledged it. I was like, you know what, shit happens. I fucked it up, and just got to own it. I just got to own it, and that's what happened. And then that's what that kind of reminded me of, because there's a moment there where I was like, oh, I think like I'm going to get away with this, and nobody saw this. There's this couple that just laughing at me like straight in my face, and I was like, cool. And there's that like momentary like knocking of my confidence as well. It's like, I can clear this thing. I can clear something that's like 1.5 times as high. What the fuck just happened? And then I just go into the gym and I get the plyo boxes and I'm like, okay, I'm going to practice this. I'm going to make sure I can do this.
I love that. I love that vision afterwards of G with the picture on his fridge of like Ivan Drago. No, that's not Ivan Drago. The barriers at Liverpool Street. Like we go to war. Like November 25th, me and you, 1-on-1.
With the great one.
With the great one. That's it.
With the fallen one.
That's brilliant. That is awesome, man.
Oh man, yeah, that's what it was like. I was like, okay, no, I need to get this out of my system once and for all. I can't have that like hanging over me. So I'm actually going to practice how to jump this thing. Did a few, and I was okay, I'm fine. I've got this. It's in my system. I've got my patterns back.
That's legit, man. Like, do you know what that is? That's like, I feel like that is. There's no explanation, like you said, from a physical standpoint. You can do that, right? Like, no, that's the universe being like, G, we need you to take this fall. For whatever reason, like we've run the data, and you need to take one. You need to take one for the team, because like we need you to be a key player later on, and there's some things we need you to think about. So here, on your ass, kid. Yeah, get up, dust yourself off, develop some confidence on the back of this. Go and work at it. It's cool. Don't worry about it. It's not a big thing. Yeah, carry on. That's like okay, and play. Pat. G's on his ass. Yeah. Okay, that's it. It's fine.
Exactly. Bro, you say that, but like definitely in hindsight as well, I was like, yeah, I needed that, because I've never had anything like that happen to me. Like maybe when I was a kid, I remember this instance when I was a kid where I don't know, I must have been like 9 or 10 years old. It was still in primary school, and it might like so there's a few of us who we're just riding our bikes around in the local neighborhood, and I was like, oh man, like there's a girl that I fancied or something, and I had my jumper around my bike. And then as we approached her, my jumper got caught in my wheel. And I just I love it. It's ridiculous. So it's like, yeah, okay, we're riding bikes, we're looking cool. I've got my new BMX. Yeah, I'm a little bad boy. And then approaching her, and my jumper gets caught in my wheel, and I'm spent the interaction is spent me to get my jumper out of my wheel, and when I do, it's tire marks over the whole thing. I'm like, that's not cool. That is not cool. And it's like that's the only other time that I really remember being like super embarrassed or something like that. But then you're a kid, but it's never happened to me as an adult. And then it finally did. I was like, Oh yeah, I needed that lesson. I needed that because just got like, any moment you can just be put in your place if you feel like you're getting too cool for school or something.
Too right,
And yeah, you're right, man. It was certainly a lesson that I needed to take on board because I hadn't felt that like visceral level of embarrassment where it
yeah.
could like sit with me for a little while. The other scenario was even worse, man. Like that tops it all. It was just the best shit ever. But maybe save it for another day. There's too many embarrassing stories in one.
Too many, man. Too many. I love that. That's. I think you got to go through that, man. You definitely got to be pulled down and pulled left, right, and off your trail a little bit. And it's something you look at it, and go, oh, that didn't need to happen, but really, it did need to happen. Just like you said, it's so funny that you acknowledge that as soon as I said it,
Mm.
because again, speaking of experience, I'm trying to think of like I'm trying to build a story around a few embarrassing things that happened to me, but I can't quite do it right now. But
Mm.
the aftermath of me thinking back on that moment, being like, that needed to happen. The
Yeah.
feeling afterwards is the necessity. Not hopefully you don't hurt yourself along the way. You don't kind of
Yeah.
you don't smash your face off the floor and then bleed all over Liverpool Street Station. But like
Yeah.
the whether it's being brought down a few pegs, whether it's just like thinking about things differently now and seeing, I don't know, where you can be less absorbed in yourself or whatever. Yeah, man, that's it's a weird kind of how we think about the nervous system
Mm.
like working in the background, like we're just this friggin' puppet that wants to just run wild, and the nervous system's like, no, don't do that, no, don't do this, no, rather you didn't do that. I feel like that's the universe's nervous system being like, oh, we've got to regulate
Mm.
one of our people. Let's
Yeah. Yeah.
how do we sort this out? Yeah, okay, then here, flat on your ass.
Yeah.
That'll be you on your way now. Go on, see you later. Go and figure it out.
Yeah.
That's it. And
100%.
balance is restored, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
there's that moment where it's just like, okay, I'm on a peak. I've now troughed real hard, and I just need to get myself back leveling out again. Yeah, you're right, man. Those lessons, like they were super necessary. Super necessary. Fuck.
Ah.
That wasn't even. That wasn't even. I mean, none of it is ever planned. It's never planned to say super necessary, but it ends up coming out. 25 episodes in, I'm pretty sure it's 24 out of 25 episodes, and we didn't even mean to. But
No.
yeah, super necessary because I'd not experienced that level before, like I was saying. So it was also, how do I have that experience but not let it also define me and make me feel inferior, or like having something which makes me feel super inferior for like, for it should only be that moment really, but it can build into something bigger where you're just like, like people have embarrassing stories, and like when they start getting told, it was, oh no, don't tell that. That's that was super embarrassing. It's like, okay, well, you still have something wrapped around that which you need to work through.
Yeah.
And for me, I've got these two stories. Well, I just remember the third one when I was a kid, but that's when you're a kid, that's whatever. But as an adult, to have like that kind of embarrassing story, like the other one is just basically, fuck it, I might as well just say it because it's like it's going to help prove a point as well. But this is where
Conquer
yeah,
that demon, G. Conquer that fucking demon.
yeah, I just have to come out with it now. But there was a group of 6 of us. We went to Hot Tub Cinema, basically.
Wow. Is that a thing?
That was, what, man, it's London, man. Anything's a thing, isn't it?
I hope this is going where I think it's going. That's all I can say. I hope it is.
All right, well, we'll see. You can tell me afterwards. There's and yeah, so there's like the 6 of us in a group, and they're basically, Superbad was the movie that they were showing in Hot Tub Cinema. So this is probably 5 years ago, and actually, yeah, it'll be around this time 5 years ago, probably like September 2015, and like yeah, so they're showing this movie, and it was in London Fields as well. So what they have is like they've got like a row of 6 hot tubs, which is maximum 6 people can go in. A bit of space, and another row of 6, and a bit of space, another row of 6. So it's like, and then basically like drinks are flowing and everything like that. And like bearing in mind, like I didn't even drink as well, so it's like everybody else is getting trashed, and we're in this hot tub watching the movie. It's good fun. And then when the movie ends, it's just like a little bit of a party thing going on. And then so what ends up happening is people just end up like jumping hot tubs and stuff, like, just going into different hot tubs. And then there was this guy, people started getting drunk. So there was this dude who's like, oh, I'm going to jump into the other fucking hot tub. It's like, they're 6 feet apart, right? So he was in our one, and then he just jumped across into another one, which was like, again, like 6 feet away. But he basically stood there. He's like, I'm gonna fucking jump in. And he was like, all right, cool. And then he just dove like as if he was doing a friggin' dive board in the Olympics or something. And he just like his upper half of his body got in, and then that just carried him through. He just slid into the rest of it. So he was fine, right? And then whatever happened, I don't know what. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the fucking same thing. And then I just got up, and then I did the same thing. So I went to dive off, but again, Peter Griffin moment, man. Family Guy, one frame four. So I'm in a fucking hot tub. I don't know. First of all, how that geezer pulled it off, I have no idea, because you're in water. You're so easy to slip up. I was the guy who proved how easy it was to slip up. So I've gone like that, but then my foot is obviously the thing I'm pushing off. It's in water. It doesn't have any fucking friction to push off of, and my foot just slid. And so instead of diving, I went. Oh. There's 6 feet of space between the hot tubs. My body is 6 feet long. I went perfect shape in between the two on the concrete. Chest first.
Oh, I thought you'd be on grass and something at least.
No, there's that much space between them. So I just went, it's like landed on my belly, like belly flopped the ground basically. And there's 150 people. Every single one of them saw it. Oh, every single one of these people saw it, right? And the laughing was hysterical. Imagine you're at a gig for a comedian and it's like thousands of people there. That's how loud the fucking laughter felt like it was for me. It was insane. It was like just people cracking up. I picked myself up and I just dropped myself into the hot tub I was aiming at. And I just kept my head underwater for about 30 seconds. I was like, I can hear everybody laughing, even under the water. I'm just going to stay here for a bit. And I was like, oh, this is so bad. And I picked my head up again. And then all I see is like, there's some people going, like pointing, going, oh my God, just laughing their faces off. And I was like, yep, that happened. Yep, thank you very much. And that was the Liverpool Street incident happened like several years after that, right? So that was like a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. This happened 5 years ago. That was the first time I actually like genuinely felt like that level of embarrassment. I had people coming up to me afterwards saying, mate, I wish I recorded that. That was the best thing I've ever seen. Oh, shit. And, like several people. And this geezer goes, mate, if we were allowed our phones in the water, I would have had it. This would have been on YouTube and he would have been an internet sensation straight away. It was unbelievable because I've gone to fucking dive and I've just gone flat on the floor because it was just that ridiculous, right? Because it was a whole moment of like clearing the space, everybody's watching, and it just goes absolutely pear-shaped. And yeah, so it was fucking awful. And I felt it as well. It was so bad to the extent where the next day my mate's messaging me, one of them who's with me, and he was like, mate, I was going to bed and I was falling asleep, but I remembered what happened and I couldn't fall asleep because I was laughing too much.
Oh man.
And it was, dude, honestly, it was gut-wrenching, like that level of embarrassment. And I felt it for days. I felt it for days afterwards. And I realized, no, this is something I need to get through because like you said, man, it's teaching me a lesson. I got to handle that and I just got to own it. And so now me recounting the story it's just fucking hilarious to me. It doesn't give me any kind of embarrassed feeling or anything like that. It's just something that happened to me. And as embarrassing as it was in that moment, I also see how hilarious it is. And I have no negative associations with that anymore. And so even though it happened in front of all these people, it happened in front of my mates, they'll always remember it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm cool with that. You know, it's fine. It's fine. It's what happened. What happened. You just got to live with it. And so, yeah, that's how I approach it now.
Can I just say your sound effect for the falling action? Perfect. That's on the money. Like if everyone out of that button they press and they make the noise when they fall, get this guy. That was brilliant. That was really good.
If you ever need that, I'll make that a little soundbite from the podcast.
Perfect. That was yeah, well, it's really interesting how you can then look back on that event and be like, oh yeah, I needed that for sure. I'm trying to think of like random ones that have happened to me, right? But the only one that's coming to mind is buying football for the first time, and then the house we used to stay in at the time. I mean, I never played football growing up. I just enjoyed kind of watching it. My dad supported Liverpool. I was supporting Liverpool because of that, and it was just one of those that I would always enjoy just kicking the ball hard as I could, but never had any skill. Kick ups, Still to this day, I'm shit at kick up. TJ can attest to that, right?
Yeah.
And, it was just one of those moments where I went to shop with my dad, bought this football, and we went into the field, which is behind the house we used to stay at the time. And you know how the ball kind of comes in that box thing, which is just useless. Just give me that ball, man. I don't want to have this
Yeah.
box. The ball is like
Yeah.
you touch it from here, but you can't get to the ball, right? And
Like Wilson in Castaway, and he comes in that box first.
that's it. There you go, right? And I put this ball on the floor, like look at it, and I'm just kind of eyeing it up, and I'm just like charging this kick up. I'm just gonna send this ball like to the strike. I'm looking at it, like gonna like freaking on the surface and be like, oh, what the hell was that ball? Like freaking just flying past his head in the cosmos somewhere. And I run up to this ball and I pull out my left leg and I swing my right leg. And the next thing I know, I'm on my ass. And I'm looking at the ball still there. I've just missed the ball entirely. It's just completely pristine. Like the blades of grass are just sat around it, and the wind are like moving the planes of the field like as it normally as pristinely as I could have left it. But I'm just on my ass. And the worst part, my dad went with me to the field, and he's like hysterically laughing right now. Like can't hold it in back in any way. And to be fair, I'm just reminding myself of another embarrassing moment. But I was more upset with the fact that my dad had seen me slip and fall.
Yeah.
Like embarrassed by that. Not other people getting look seeing me do that. I would be like, yeah, I would kind of be a little bit whatever. But when it's your dad, you're just like, oh, God damn it! Why did that have to happen? Let me seem like a man for going to kick this ball real hard and be like, yeah, dad, I did it. But yeah, that had to happen. That had to happen, man.
That's funny, man. What was the other one that you remembered?
Oh, this is like if there was like you know how you said the guy said to you with the YouTube YouTube it would have been a YouTube sensation, right? So picture my dad I think we go back to the same sports direct that we bought this football from. And this is I think this is years afterwards. Oh, so not the same sports direct, whatever, you know. And my dad buys a driver. He buys a golf golf bat or whatever you call them. And
how old are you at this point?
Secondary school, year 7, year 8, I think.
Yeah.
And actually no, previously he'd bought me a bike, so I was like, okay, you're gonna go and hit some golf balls around the field, and I'm gonna cycle my bike. I was like, cool, sound, let's go. And we get to the field, and I'm off way over there somewhere, cycling my bike, just kind of like doing my thing, just playing around. And my dad turns and looks at me, and he's hitting the golf balls like that way, and I'm cycling like there somewhere, so they ain't gonna hit me, right? So this is my dad. Let's just frame it. Let's just frame it. It's like, people have met me. I'm not a small person. My dad makes me look like a small person. He's a large individual, right? He's a large individual with a golf bat and a golf ball. I'm like, okay, cool. I am at least, I want to say 300 meters straight away from him. Cycling my bike, just doing my thing.
No way.
Sorry. He turns to me and he goes, Omar. And I turn and look at him and he goes, thunk, and he hits this ball. And I'm still cycling my bike, bro. I'm still cycling my bike. And I'm just like, oh, okay, he's hit the ball. And I just see this golf ball just like go, and just smack me in the side of my leg. And it stays low the entire time. You know, this ball just like cutting across the blade, like flipping golden stitch, right? It just cuts across and just nails me in the side of the thigh. And like you on that golf hot time, I'm on my bike, just kind of the ball goes, hits me in the leg, and I just go, dunk on my bike. Like, and I just look at my leg, and I just look at him, and I'm like, like really hurt because this golf ball has been whacked by my dad, right? And it's stinging out of my leg. And I remember just getting up, throwing my bike, and then running to him and being like, "I'm gonna kick your head in," right? And just jumping on him and just like hitting him repeatedly. What did you do that for? You just nailed me with a golf ball. It was such an embarrassing story. It was just like a. What were you thinking? Like, what were you actually thinking? I look at you like a responsible adult, but you've decided to just launch a golf ball in my general direction. Could have whacked me with the head. Could have killed me.
Man, I'm actually about to start crying.
him, being him, he laughed the same way he laughed when I slipped and missed that ball, right? So I'm just like, no, I'm bigger now. I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna take you. I'm gonna run across this field. I remember like running. He legit started running the other way because I'm just like, that bad right now. And he knows I ain't gonna do nothing, but I'm gonna get there and just kind of whack him a few times and be like, "What are you doing? That really hurt." But you could not replicate that. If that again, like a you've been framed YouTube moment, not replicate that. That golf ball, I can still see it to this day, just bending as it comes and just cracked me right in the thigh, right in my right leg, as I'm just innocently riding my bike, and they're just going, they're just having no reaction apart from to freeze and to just fall sideways on my bike.
Oh god.
So I just get out my sniper rifle, right? That was
Oh,
my
bro.
immediate. That's it. That's it. It's on. I'm throwing my bike. I'm throwing the big.
Bro, that's too much, man. That's too much. That's had me creasing.
There we go.
I feel like I'm actually wiping some tears of laughter from my eyes.
Got some technical difficulties. And
You back, bro?
where is he? You hear me, G?
Yeah, I hear you.
There he is.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Nah,
man,
man.
so
I was saying you got me creasing, man. You got me crying. It's like I feel like I'm genuinely like wiping tears from my eyes because that's hilarious. I love the fact that you just like you just actually went up to your dad and started pounding him.
Yeah. Forget this. You're getting it, man. You're getting it. Like I don't know what I'm about to give you because I'm legit in year 7 and you're 6'5", and I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't care. You're getting something.
That's brilliant. I love that, man. That's like a lesson in like standing up for yourself as well, even if it's your dad. That's a big one.
That was it. I couldn't believe the fact that he hit this ball and it just kind of made its way like a heat-seeking missile to my thigh, which would have been burning from the cycling of my bike. I just thought, yep, that's my target. Get the kid.
That's too good, man. Oh, good. That's funny. I mean, I want to hear I want to hear from our listeners. I want to know if they've got some embarrassing stories that they're happy to share. Just tag us on Instagram and tell us your story because you got to own it. Like we said, just got to own them. Got to own those stories and not let them define you and just have some fun with them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's fun. It is better that way because it's just what else is you can't have it too ordinary, right? You can't have it too ordinary. I mean, those stories, I tell them back now. I just laugh my ass off. Same way as you laugh your ass off about your stories. And yeah, man. Otherwise, it's just super boring. You kind of have that person who's just like, yeah, nothing's really happened to me. It's like, I don't want to be that. I'd rather have a few random bits and bobs kind of happen to you. Yeah,
exactly. That's brilliant. That's just, oh man, I've had a workout, man. I was like, I'm going to train out the podcast today. That's like half my training done. Just my abs are sorted.
Finished.
Yeah.
T-Duck's get a good workout. Abs got a good workout. Yeah, just A1, A2, so in there. There you go.
Exactly, man. Exactly. That's just what is it? But when was the last time, right? Because it happened to me yesterday. When was the last time, or what feeling do you get when you've woken up and it's like it's 2 minutes to an appointment that you're supposed to make?
Oh man, the worst. Just the worst. Firstly, I don't know about you, but I have this like the when you do that, when that thing where you feel like you're falling, and then you tense every muscle in your body, and the whole room kind of shakes around you.
Yeah.
That I get that because you know when you can vaguely remember the dream of waking up, checking your phone, turning your alarm off, and going, yeah, 5 minutes, and then you wake up and it's like 2 hours later. You're like, what the hell? No, like straight away. You look at your clock and like your session's started or something, and you're just like, every bone in your body just like, friggin' idiot. What are you doing? Yeah, that's I hate that feeling. That is probably the worst. One of the worst feelings that can just happen to you on any given day, because you know you've missed your training, you've missed your like morning routine of being slow and being regulated, not checking your phone too much. Yeah, out of the window. Why do you ask, bro?
Oh, well, it happened to me yesterday for the first time in fucking ages as well. So, and yeah, it was just one of those weird moments. It's just like how you described it. It was I had a haircut appointment at 9:20 a.m. right, and like I watched The Equalizer 2 with my dad on Friday night, ended up going to bed like 1 a.m. It's like, which is like, I'm not used to sleeping that late anymore, right? And so, but I'm still waking up at like, when I've done that, I'm still waking up at like around 8 o'clock. And it's a weekend, it's like 8 o'clock, yeah, I'll be fine. And just to be sure, I set the alarm as well. But set the alarm, I was like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm up. And then when I actually get up, it's 9:17 a.m. and my appointment's at 9:20.
Oh
I
no.
went, and just that feeling of like you've lost your breath is like you just go, and I
Yeah.
went, and I was in bed. I looked at the clock. I went, oh no. like,
I'm
some,
alone.
like some sort of character, yeah, some sort of character from Home Alone or Sesame Street, just like, oh no, like a child would. I went, I can't believe this has happened. And I was like, did the clocks go forward? Did I miss something? Is that now, or is that in a few weeks' time? I'm genuinely questioning whether that was the case, because this has not happened to me in the longest time. And then so I just had to call them up, and I'm like, and it just shows you how adaptable you actually are as well. That was like one of the reasons why I asked you this question, because normal morning routine, you're supposed to brush your teeth, grab a cup of coffee, whatever your thing is. And then like you go about your day and you're like, okay, I'm going to leave. It's a 20-minute journey. So I'm going to leave with, half an hour to spare. Just make sure I get there a little bit and like enough time to get parking and stuff. So I was supposed to leave at 10 to 9 and I'm waking up at 9:17 and my appointment is in 3 minutes. And I just called them and I just went, I go, look, I've got an appointment with, I got an appointment with Lucy at 9:17, 9:20. It's in 3 minutes. I've got a problem. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Is that still okay? And she checks her. She's like, yeah, it'll still be fine. We'll just about manage to squeeze your appointment, and we'll have to we'll have to just basically double down on the time and be quick. But if you're here in 20 minutes, it'll work. I was like, okay, fine. I hang up the phone. The only thing I did was, like, while I'm on the phone, I'm getting dressed.
Oh,
so
shit.
I'm putting like I've got the phone in my hand. I'm like trying to put a fucking t-shirt on while I'm just like holding, like I'm talking to this person. I put my trousers on, and then I was like, I can't leave without brushing my teeth. So I brush my teeth real quick. I look at my hair. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter if it's in a state because I'm about to get a haircut. So that saved any effort and time. And just like, everything just feels like it's a mess. You look like you've been asleep even when you rock up to this place. But yeah, and it was chucking it down with rain as well. So I actually had to give myself a talking to. It's like, the idea is like, I'm just going to speed to the appointment. But I'm like, it is torrential downpour. Don't kill yourself. So I just had just make sure that I didn't do that. But yeah, and I got there 20 minutes late, and we still managed to get everything done. And I just told him straight up, they're like, what happened? I was like, I woke up 3 minutes before I was supposed to be here. And she was like, oh, at least you didn't make it up, because everybody's always lying to us. There was like, traffic was really bad. Oh, I had this problem here. Something happened there. It's like, you just told us. You just woke up. I go, yeah, I don't know what happened. It's like the first time in forever. But it was just how quickly you can just still get shit done, right? It's like you can just adapt super quickly is what it was. That was a part of it, and just that feeling of like having your breath taken away from you. And I'm sure that's like a pretty universal feeling. Like a lot of people experience that when that happens. But it was quite interesting again, because I hadn't had that in such a long time. Genuinely questioning whether the world was fucking me over. Being like, did the clocks move forward? or have I just screwed this up? And then it's like, no, I've screwed this up. But then how quickly you can just adapt and just keep moving forward. That was basically why I got out of it as well. And I was cracking. And that was another thing. I wasn't like pissed off about it. I was on my way there. I was actually laughing. I was like, how did this even happen? What the hell just happened? I was just getting confused. And but yeah, just one of those.
That, man. You reminded me of my other most embarrassing moment. Well, do you know what? This is. I don't know if this is even embarrassing. It's not really. It's not. It's just something that happened. That the way you've described your reaction to what happened to you, as in going from to okay, fix this and just kind of carry on, or to actually laughing about it, like you said, right? So again, my dad. That's all three. I'm noticing a theme here. Yeah, dad.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Like the source of all your powers and your embarrassment.
I love that. And you know what? If he listens to this, I'll send him it. He'll know before I even say it, because there's if he's got a brain cell still left in his head, he remembers. He will know. He will remember this, right? So we're at our house in the northeast of England, right, where we all used to live. and he has this air gun, an air rifle, right? And we're all kind of like just randomly. He's had these all his life. He's had these like randomly all his life, and I can't remember why he even have them, but he just have them, right? So I don't know if you've ever fired an air rifle, or like put pellets in an air rifle and kind of like shot it or anything or
Yes,
whatever.
yeah.
It's pretty cool, right? Because air powered and it's like it kind of makes that noise and whatever. Anyway, um, so he has I think he has two like long rifles that you kind of like put on your shoulder and you kind of look down the sights and you fire them, and then he has this handgun. I mean, he hasn't, and the handgun looks proper cool. Like anyone who's ever seen Terminator One, that the
Yeah,
gun that the Terminator has, like the normal kind of handgun that he looks at Sarah Connor, and he kind of shines the beam, and he kind of goes into her forehead here. It was like that. It was a
yeah,
super cool gun, right? So I'm
yeah.
there, like looking at my dad, like this is super cool. Can I fire it? And he's like, be careful. And I just point out the fence over here and just fire it straight, and everything will be fine. So okay, cool. Okay, cool. Is it loaded? He's like, yeah, it's loaded. It's okay. And I look at the fence. I stand there and I close one eye and I'm like looking down the thing and I'm just like, clink, and I click the thing. Instantaneously, I feel something hit me in the throat here, and I was like, "What just happened?" Like, oh, immediately I thought, bro, I thought I swallowed the bullet. I thought I'd swallowed, and I started coughing like, like choking, like this bullet's gone in my mouth. I don't know how the hell it's like gone, boop, like it just disapparated from the gun and just gone in my mouth. I'm like, how does this happen? I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't even know, like just straight up, don't have a clue how this has happened. Right? What's
Oh
actually
god.
happened is that I've fired the gun that way, it's hit something, whether it be the nail of a fence panel or something, and come straight back at me and hit me right in the throat here,
What?
right?
No
And
way.
legit, like on the point of my Adam's apple, legit, right?
No
Ping
way.
off, and I remember because there was a little red mark here, right? And it was just one of those like, how did I just do that? How was that even possible? Right? I fired it
Exactly.
straight, and I, I think that's a pretty straight shot because like you're firing it from here, and it's fired that way, and it's come straight back and nailed me right in the throat, like instantaneously. I've click the thing, and it's made the travel there and back, smack me in the throat. I'm coughing. My dad's on the floor laughing, and I'm just like, what's happened? That's my first experience holding this handgun that I think is uber cool, and all of a sudden I'm on the floor like choking. My dad's over there laughing again, and I'm just like, this is great. This is just great. Moment of like, this is super fun. To what
God.
the hell is going on? To I'm alive. To okay, let me laugh with him because clearly this is ridiculous. To be like, what
Yeah.
actually happened? Then going inside and be like, oh shit, I shot myself in the throat. Like, that is what actually happened.
Just so many emotions.
Yeah. You cannot make that shot, like straight up. I've seen it before. Like you watch the guy, the rocket launcher on YouTube, he's firing it. He's like, yeah, freaking saying all this random shit, and he fires it the
Oh,
wrong way, and he face plants
yeah.
on the floor. Right? That's perfect. This is probably, I think this is on par with that. Just some kid, just like nervously firing this gun, then thinking that he's freaking swallowed the bullet. Mad, super mad.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Bro.
both times my dad's just like lost his shit, laughing
Yeah,
till he can't even stand, right? And yeah, like
yeah,
you said,
yeah.
source of my power, source of my strength, and source of my most embarrassing moments, all in one. Brilliant. That,
Oh, God.
that's life kind of just giving you one hand and taking it away with the other hand. Be like, yeah, screwed you. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro. That is. Oh man. I thought the golf ball story was freaking. This is raised the bar again. Lord have mercy.
Another level, man. Another level. Crazy shit, man.
That's yeah, that is some crazy shit. But that honestly, what are the odds? How is that even possible?
The amount of time that pellet hits the fence and comes straight back, right? Or it comes straight back, it doesn't hit me in the flicking eye, right? Hits
Yes.
me in the throat, it
Oh,
doesn't go through my throat, like flipping egg. All both these stories are pretty
oh, man.
dangerous, man. Pretty dangerous. Like I'm thinking about it, like that golf ball could have pinged me up the side of the head, and I'm just like,
That's it.
yep, I don't remember a thing. I don't know what happened, but I was riding my bike, and the next thing I know, something jumped up and bit me. Like that
Yeah.
could have been the story. That could have been the story, but yeah, with the air rifle, that's not happening. That should have definitely just sunk into the fence and just stayed there. But Nope. That bullet had some more bite in it.
Yeah, man. Oh man, had some life. Oh, bro, that's insane. That is insane. I just like the rigmarole of emotions that you go through as well. It's
Shit.
just like the shock, the stun. Just am I alive?
Yeah.
To the relief because I am alive. Like then it's like the confusion of how the fuck did that happen, and then the realization as well.
Yeah.
Like this, it's like that's
To
intense.
I feel like both times because my dad's just laughing on the floor. I feel like actually you need a good kick. Like I need to just like take this out because I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I need to just emote. And, like the only way I know how right now is just to freaking tell you to shut up first because that
Yeah.
could have been really bad, but it wasn't. So thankfully, thank you.
Oh man.
Right, but
Yeah. Yeah, completely, man. Completely. Talk about like that. I mean, like when me and Sam were kids, right? This is so stupid.
I
This
love this
is so
podcast. I love this podcast already. Let's go.
Exactly. Bro,
Come on, bring Sam into this.
this is honestly, this is so dumb. Like, oh god, we're in the garden, right? It's like summertime, and we used to have a dartboard, so we used to play darts. But then we thought it would be fun to just
I'm already laughing, man.
yeah. So we think it would be fun to just launch the darts at each other.
Oh shit.
So we used to stand at opposite ends of the garden, right? So the gardens are like at the time, I can't remember how many. It must have been like I think it's like a 30-meter garden. So by the time maybe like we've got like 20 meters of space.
Is it the same house that your
Yeah.
parents live in? Oh, I've seen that garden. It's pretty big.
Yeah, exactly. So it's big, right? But back then, when we were kids, it would have been smaller. We didn't have like the size that we do now. It was more length, but the length would have been shorter as well. So yeah, probably about 20 meters. So we're standing, and like when you're kids, it's fucking huge as well. So we're standing at opposite ends, just got a dart and like pretending like there's like a missile launch going wrong, like kind of thing, right? So we're just like launching and going. And then it will land in front of him, like, and then he'll pretend that he's just been blown up, and then he's just like jumping around everywhere.
Nice.
And then we're doing it to each other basically. But then there was this one time where he threw the dart, just launched it. It's like like throwing an American football. You just like getting that loop on it, right? So he just throws it up in the air, and I'm just watching it come at me, like straight at me. I don't know why. I have no idea why I didn't move. I just didn't. I just looked at this thing come straight at me, and it went.
Oh shit!
Great here. There's a mark on my. Actually, it's on this side, but there's a mark. I don't know if you can see it on through here. But basically, it looks like I've picked away a pimple, and but it's actually the dart was right here, and it just landed there, and it and like on a dartboard, it just went stuck. It was stuck here for like a couple seconds, and then it just dropped out. And that's just stupid, right? It's like, what am I doing just watching this dart come at me? First, what are we doing throwing darts at each other? Right? What the fuck is it? What kind of game is that? And then to have it just land on my face where it's like literally not even an inch from my eyeball.
Oh my God.
And just have it fall out. And all that happened was it was just like as if I popped a spot or something where it just like bled, like a tiny little bit of bleeding there.
Oh,
but
man.
That's the kind of stupid shit you do when you're kids as well. And
Yeah,
then you realize, actually, maybe that was a good idea. So like, self-regulating is like, oh, right, that was actually pretty stupid. Yeah, I won't do that again. We're not going to throw darts at each other again. We never did. We never played that again.
We learned that lesson. I can imagine Sam just being like, oh shit, are you okay? Like just proper. That would have been my reaction. If I throw a dart in the air, my sister would have got it in the face.
Yes.
Holy shit, man. I think I would have moved house.
Yeah, it was terrible. And what it's like, it was never even because we're doing it to each other. So it's not like you're going to tell each other off or anything like that. We weren't even like that anyway. It's just like, we always had each other's back kind of thing. But to think like that's what we were doing, and I was less than an inch away from potentially losing an eyeball. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. It's hilarious to think that we're fucking throwing darts at each other, but it's also just playing this game. But it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And then, but also the idea that okay, there's a slight mistake that's happened that could have been a big mistake. But even as kids, you learn that that was not what you wanted to do, and there didn't have to be any adults around to be like, yeah, you fucked up. We knew we fucked up, so we didn't have to play that game again because we realized through our own learnings that ain't the right thing to do.
I feel like you just went back to child. How old were you when this happened?
It's still, I think, still primary school. I may have been 10 or 11.
Nice.
About 10, probably. I reckon Sam was about 7 or 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you, with the way you just explained it to me, we realized without any adults present, like
Yeah.
that was exactly the emotion you would have had then, and just been like,
Yes.
"This is out, bro. We can't do this
Yeah.
anymore. No more throwing dirt at each other. Yeah, like this is not good."
Exactly. It's
Brilliant.
that, because that reminds me of like there's something like Jordan Peterson says about like child psychology and stuff, because there's like if you're having like one or two kids, then it's very easy to like mollycoddle them and just coddle them and just be there constantly for them. But if you've got like 6 kids, you can't keep your eye on them all at the same time.
Mm,
And but what they end up doing in this roundabout kind of way is like regulating each other. Obviously they need oversight. This is stupid to let a fucking bunch of kids, just 6-year-olds or something, just try and figure out life on their own. That just ain't gonna
mm,
happen. But one of the things that ends up happening is they start making mistakes because there's no adults around for oversight as often as there could be, because there's just too many of them to take care of. But that's not such a bad thing, because they make mistakes, but they learn the rules of life by doing that kind of thing. And they're being social, they're with each other, they're learning, they're playing games, they're making up games as they go along. And by making up games as they go along, they're learning rules of interaction as well. What's
mm,
safe, what's fair way to interact with each other. They'll figure out through the mistakes, okay, that didn't work out so well because it didn't suit the rules. It didn't suit the game that we were playing, and then they adapt from that. And that's exactly what we experienced in that situation. And I know that from, like, when we were growing up, we were lucky enough to be just surrounded by like extended family as well. Like whenever we get together in family scenarios and stuff, there's like 13, 14, 15 kids. It's
mm,
like me and my bro. There's like cousin sisters and brothers, and like from one end, and like other cousin brothers and stuff like that, all varying age groups as well. So it could have been from like me, say if I was about 9, 8, 9, 10 years old, then there's some who were 13, 14, and then there were others who were like 4, 5, 6.
mm.
And we're all just like we're all like playing with each other as well. There was even an instance where I remember two of my cousins just getting into a fight with each other, and then like some of the young kids, which was me included, being like, "Hey, maybe you don't want to do that. You're stepping on my whiteboard. I want to draw on it. Can you stop doing that, please?" It's like,
I love that.
yeah, and then like they piss each other off, but then somehow find a solution as well without having to get the adults involved. So it's super interesting to think of it in that context as well, how you can actually, even as a kid, you can figure out without the oversight of an adult when you fucked up and when you haven't. And thankfully it's not when it's gone too far.
Yes. But then, do you know what? That's making me think. I was
Mm.
with my dad all 3 times. This is the adult that's supposed to regulate this shit. He's the one knocking golf balls at me. This guy didn't freaking grow up. Ain't my fault. It's him. Sorry, I'm just revealing all my childhood issues with my dad right now. It's like it's all well and good going there, but what if there was adults in the room and they were as irresponsible as you? Sure, son. Here's a gun.
So, with the golf ball story, it's almost as if he's calling you to let you know he's about to smack you. He's like, "I'm gonna hit you," just so you know. There's nothing you can do about it.
What a
Oh,
guy.
that is
Yeah, man.
amazing. That
Now
is
that I
amazing.
think about it, he is a bit of a lost boy. Like now that I think
Yeah.
if I think about my dad, he is kind of a bit of a Peter Pan where he just doesn't wanna grow up. And it's funny what Peterson says about this kind of things. Obviously you don't see your
Mm,
dad in that light, but then as you
mm,
grow and you step into the same shoes sometimes, um, and I'd like me and TJ were having a lot of joke about this week. We were kind of thinking about like extended family and just people that we know looking at us two as kind of like lost boys,
right.
almost just like kind of we're doing it, but we're not really kind of following the rules. We're not
Mm,
really kind of being part of the establishment, and we don't want to be. Like this is the thing about us is that we kind of feel like yeah, the world has a status quo and the world has a operating system, but we can get by doing this sometimes, and like sometimes getting by is not enough. Like you need to know the rules of getting by and the implications of getting by, but
yeah.
sometimes it's good for you because then you don't take things too seriously and you're able to make your own way. You know what I mean? Making your own way. And then like you said, with your cousins playing or all you playing together, you end up learning about what's fair, learning about what you like and what you don't like. And I feel like we're kind of doing that as well. Obviously, we've not had that much time together, but I mean, if we recount events and we can look at how we arrived at where we are right now, and the relationship that we have, it's very much based upon the undercurrent of both of us kind of being like, yeah, we'll be okay, we'll figure it out. Like kind of, and we'll kind of work our way through it. And I think that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing in a way, because you're not kind of bound by the laws of what people think you should be doing or how you should be acting. You're kind of just figuring it out along the way.
Yeah.
And obviously you get burned with that, but also you just get an authentic experience with that. And I think
Yes.
that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. I think there's a lot to be said for that, because you want to be smart enough to know when you can learn from other people's experiences, but also know when you kind of like you need to go through it yourself a lot of times, or even if it's a mistake that somebody else has made. And I think it makes things a lot more fun, but it's also you're doing things the way you want to do them and learning the best way as
Yeah.
well, learning the best way to do them. I think that's Well, I think to be honest, I think the point that resonates the most with me about it is like the authenticity. It's like the authenticity of your own experience,
Yeah.
and that's super relevant. And
Mm.
I think this is why it's a big reason why I love what I do, because I'm learning from my clients every single day, because their experience is helping me um, understand a bit more about life, basically, and how I can take their experience and think about it for myself, but also how can I apply it to the next person as well? And how
Mm.
does that fit into a model that I have, which is geared towards essentially helping people live a better life? And how can I add that to that model? How can I take that feedback that they've given me, or how can I take their experience? How can I take their way of thinking about it? And like like basically a lot of times, like it jolts me a little bit, because I'm oh yeah, because somebody thinks differently to I do. I need to remember that. And I was talking about it with my bro yesterday as well. One of the things about like lockdown is the fact that you're not getting as much conversation with different kinds of people as you normally would, and for a lot of people there's a lot of like loneliness going on as well, because you just don't have exposure to enough people. And so one of the things was a few weeks ago, it was like 3 weeks ago now, I went to Go Ape for a friend's birthday, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. And it was also it was like, so we're doing something physical, we're doing something active. You're like 30 meters up in the air, strapped on a harness, and trying to do this like jungle gym type thing going on up there. But the other takeaway that I got from it was, wow, actually I didn't realize how much I needed to be interacting with other people who I don't get to interact with as often, and in a larger group. I had different viewpoints. I had different conversation points. It was almost like I was practicing how to talk to people again.
I love
It
that.
was like, oh yeah, this is how you talk to other people. And so that was again, that was another one. It was super necessary. I had that, and I was like, I could feel my brain just opening up in different ways, and being re-engaged in different ways as well. And it felt really, really good. I was like, oh, this actually feels quite nice. It was quite a relief as well, in a way. There's this feeling of, oh, that feels good. It feels really nice to do that. So I can imagine that, having had that experience, I can imagine there's a ton of people there who are pretty like proper anxious, because they're not getting that exposure to other people now as well. So it just proves how social we are as animals. And then he was also talking about how he's doing business with his good friend. He is his business partner, and it's like, he goes, I can talk to him in a very curt way. That's the relationship we have. I can literally, if I wanted to, one day I could just tell him to fuck off, and it's fine, because this is how we talk to one another. But I have to, but then going out and seeing other people, I remember, oh yeah, I can't tell everybody else to fuck off. I need to put it to them in a slightly more polite term. Is one of the things that happens as well. There's different ways of interacting with people. And so, that's what, so taking it back to with the clients, like I have a drill that I give some of them, just like a hip opener. You might know it as well. Like you're basically sitting on your butt on the floor, and you're just dropping your hips one side, and then you're dropping your knees one side, and then picking back up, drop to the other side. So I just call them hip rotations. But every time I say that to one of my clients, is like, what are we doing again? I'm like, and this, what are we doing again? This, what are we doing again? This. it's not that he doesn't know how to do the exercise. He just can't get it in his head that it's called hip rotations, right?
Mm.
And for other clients, like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm gonna do the hip rotations. And for someone like him, he was like, because it reminds him of his dog butt scooting across the floor. So named it after his dog, basically. So we're like, no, we're going to do these butt slides. We're going to do named it after your dog. And he's like, oh, yeah, cool. Then he knows exactly what it is. Another one, like, called them windshield wipers. So I'm like, okay, windshield wipers. So it just basically reminds me that, like, not everybody thinks, like, some people are a bit more visual. So they just need to see me do this and they get it. And then some people, like, they need to associate it with the name that they give it. Whereas me, I'm quite logical. So if you tell me hip rotations, I'm like, okay, well, I'm rotating my hips. So this is what I'm going to do. If you tell me single leg hip hinge with opposite hand reach, that's just a long way of saying something different. So I'm like, okay, I'll be standing on my right leg. I'm going to hinge from my hip and I'm going to reach my left hand down to my hand, down to my foot. Okay, I get that. Like, I'll execute that. But another one of my clients was like shaking the little man's hand. That's how he remembered. So I'm like, every day, I could tell him single leg hip hinge with the especially if I want to go like full tilt on his like single leg hip hinge with contralateral reach. And we're like, what the fuck? I say that every time. He's done it for 3 months. He knows what he's got to do. But then you say shaking the little man's hand. He's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, bam. He's just like straight into it. He's getting it. And so it's always good to have that because their experience helps me realize, okay, how can I communicate this better to other people? How can I make something better? So it's like, learning from other people, but then, like you say, man, you just got to go through your own experience and go through your own fire. And then so that you can apply that experience authentically.
You're right, man. I love that. I love what you just said there. It made me think of shaking the little man's hand. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah. That cried me up, man.
Hello, little man. How you doing down there? Nice to see you again. Rep number 7. How you doing?
Yeah. Saying hello to the same guy like 50 times.
Yeah. I love that, man. I love that. It made me think of I was in the gym this week and I was doing reps for people. I was doing like a rep because it's hard. Again, ab wheel rollouts is my demon right now. Right, it's a tough exercise. I feel like I think I've talked about the podcast before. Like I feel like I've got gangly ass arms and I've got like a long torso, and I'm just playing my world's smallest violin over here. Right, I'm just making it sound like a sad story. Right, but yeah, I'm doing the movement. I'm getting a bit kind of worked up by it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a rep for this person. I think I did a rep for you. I think I did a rep for my mom. I was like, okay. And the last rep of the day was a rep for TJ. I was just like, that's going to be the hardest one. I'm going to do TJ's rep. Holding it, pausing it, dragging it back in. Great. Just like you said, like an authentic experience that I went through that day. I'm sure other people have been through a similar thing, but I'll remember that. And it just made me think of like, do that hard rep for whatever it is you're doing. Just kind of keep going, put something to it, and just carry on. Yeah. But what something else that you made me think about when you were talking about your clients was a conversation I had with one of my clients this week. I won't mention his name, but he started with me 5 weeks ago now. I think 4 weeks ago now, and his goal was to be competent in the gym without me, which is, as far as goals go, I love that one because it's like, I'm sure you can say the same, right? It's like you want to see your client. You use the word client, use the word like, I don't want to use the word child, but like somebody that you're imparting knowledge to, just go and fly in your own, man. Like you require me to have some conversations with you right now, but in the long term, I want to see you just go and smash it because it makes me super happy, right? This is any PT would hopefully say the same thing. And initially, why I actually got into personal training, one of the main things was that I wanted to just look at the gym floor and be like, I want to help you all. I want to help you all kind of understand that this is not maybe what we should be doing. So let's kind of think about spending more time doing the right stuff, and then we might all be kind of happier, better equipped, and whatever. So initially, I was like, okay, work with me for a few sessions, understand it, and carry on. But obviously, we know that's not the case. Sometimes people enjoy having time with somebody else. It becomes an experience on its own, right? But this guy's goal from day one was that I want to become competent. I want to figure out a reason for coming to the gym, and enjoy coming on my own. So I was like, okay, fantastic. But he sees me a few times a week right now. And he'd gone through his phase 1 of training, so we'd kind of assessed him and made sure that he's moving well, and found out that his left shoulder, he has a few issues with his left shoulder, a few issues with his right side hip. So display that when you do split squats with the right leg forward, his range of motion would always be a little bit short. You'd kind of feel a little bit bit curmudgeoned in the exercise, not really too stable. We realized, okay, it's your core in this faction, and then it's your shoulder in this instance, and he's working his way through it. And then I'm thinking with my PT head on and my kind of like progressions based, intent based programming that we kind of pick up from Jordan Shadow in Prescript, that I'm going to move this guy forward because the human in front of me warrants a new operating system now, because he's been running this old operating system, and now we're going to try and out with the old, in with the new, and he should be firing on all the cylinders, and I'm super happy with that. He should be happy. He could be happy with that too. But what he actually said to me this week was that, you know what, I quite like doing these exercises, so can we not progress them? And I was like, oh shit, yeah, of course we can, man. Like, we chill. Like, I straight away just was like, here's the rule book. Get out of it. Like, we don't need that. You know what I mean? Like, as much as we can get lost in programming and microcycles, mesocycles, let's undulate the reps, and let's bring up the volume here, and all. Let's cut it in with this, and like introduce you to this exercise and that stimulus. At the end of the day, he's having his time with his trainer, and he is the important person there. You know what I mean? I can steer the ship, but really what his goal was initially was to take control of the ship himself. So I can only go as fast as he wants to go. You know what I mean? It was such a valuable conversation for me as a trainer to have a client come to me and say, really, I don't really want to do that. And funnily enough, the exercise was ab wheel rollout. So it's not just me that doesn't like it. And not that he doesn't even like it.
Projecting that onto this guy.
It's a bad exercise. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's go back to being. Why do we have to be dynamic? Why do we have? We don't have to be dynamic. We can just be stationary all day long. Just happy. Like we're just getting this shit done. And yeah, he just kind of really matter of factly wasn't a moan. It wasn't anything bad, but it was just him bringing to the surface that I quite like staying with the exercise a bit longer. And I was like, that's brilliant, man. Thank you for telling me that, because I've got phase 4 planned out in my head. We're on phase 2 right now. I'm thinking, okay, right, we're going to get you to there and keep pushing you forward. And obviously, he wants physical development as well. So I'm thinking at a certain point, then we got into the chat. We was like, okay, well, this is where my head was at, because I'm looking at you like some clay in some instances. Obviously, you're not. You're a human being, but I want to give you a physical return on your investment. And he's invested well with me, and he's happy to train him. It's a great experience, but I don't want to just leave you on the same stimulus, because at a certain point it becomes a bit redundant. Now you can do a 3-minute plank. Great. We should make that more dynamic now. You know, we should make that kind of this is how we kind of push on the stimulus, so that it can have more correlation to other exercises. You know what I mean? And it was almost like we had not a disagreement, but just a mutual coming forward of experiences and being like, okay, right, well, this is what you think, this is what I think. So can we go forward with this? Oh yeah, cool. We'll go forward with that, but maybe park it on this one a little bit. And I was like, yeah, it's absolutely fine, no problems. We don't have to go to a front foot elevated Bulgarian split squat anytime soon, because it was a movement. I was just like, I'm a bit up in the air here. I don't know how I feel about this. Let me put my feet on the floor. Like, split squat was fine. Like, we don't need to kind of expose me in this way just yet. I was like, okay, cool, don't worry about it. And yeah, it was just a proper valuable conversation for me as a trainer, because sometimes you feel like, okay, there's one ship, there's one captain, and I've got one passenger. I got to get you home. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's like, oh, well, can we stop to look at the new pretty islands? Like, yeah, of course we can. Let's stay here. You know what I mean? Let's stay here. This is great. I enjoy this too. And we're just standing there. I'm just like, yeah, I'm doing our planks. This is fantastic. Like, that's it. We don't need to push up. So yeah, just a random occurrence this week. So a random occurrence that definitely made me think differently about how I was going about my PT. And I think going forward, it's got to be I'll do this anyway, but more of like a bring me your voice rather than kind of me just telling you what we need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, got to break down to the process. I mean, that's one of the things that I've done with my program over lockdown. It's just basically it's like the blessing in disguise is that it just forced me to work and operate in a way that I really wanted to and I really needed to. I've been looking at doing for a long time, and I just never really executed on it. So I just sat down in this period because I had to, and lo and behold, I produced something which I'm like very happy with in terms of delivering, and like clients are really responding to it as well because I partly because of that as well, I've baked that into the process. So literally, like every couple of weeks, at the end of each week, they're doing like a week in review. So they're like, what went well, what didn't go so well, what challenges do you foresee in your week ahead, and so then when I see them in our next session, I can go, okay, this is great that you point out this challenge. This is how we're going to strategize for it, and then um, doing a regular check-in as well, just to see, okay, so which is a little separate, which is like, let's check in, like, quality of your sleep. How much sleep are you getting? What's your state of mind before you go to sleep? What's your daily energy levels like? So we're checking in on all those different things, and it's basically, it's something that they fill in and that they do. So we have a record of it. We can look back throughout the program, like, okay, you were a 6 out of 10 in energy levels when we started, and in the second week you were still there, but then in the fourth week and then the sixth week you bumped yourself up to a 7, then you bumped yourself up to an 8. Your energy levels are improving. If it goes back down, it's another way of finding out what's actually going on. And so there's more forthcoming with that kind of information because I made it known to them. It's like, well, I need to know this so that I can help you in the best way possible. There's no point in lying, because the worst thing you're doing is lying to yourself. And that's worse than lying to me, because I can only help you with the information that I'm going off of. And that honesty just means that you're just going to go further forward quicker. And baking that in, putting that into the program I'd say it's been game changing. This is legitimate. I'm getting a hell of a lot more quality information from my clients, and they're sharing that more willingly with me. And I tell them, is like, I need you to, so that I can help you in the best way possible. Don't feel like anything's off the table. Like, one of my clients was just worried about telling me about, like, it's like, oh, this isn't a great conversation, but bowel movements. I was like, no, tell me. Like, I want to know. Is like, are you getting, like, what's going on? If you feel like you have to mention it, then it's clearly important. So because it's helpful. It's all information. So don't ever feel like you can't tell us these type of things, because the best thing is we know, so that we know how all these changes are affecting you.
True, man. True. I think that's part of what you've just outlined is what needs to happen in our industry, which is
Mm.
we got to step away from this 10 session, teach you how to squat day one, kind
Yeah.
of get you on the watt bike until you can't walk, and oh, great session, yeah, see you later, mate, see you later, bang. No contact until next week Thursday at 4 p.m. when you've had a week's worth of everything going up and down in your life, and then sit back on the watt bike. Yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time. It's every waste of everyone's time, especially when there's much more of a process that can be thought out there. And I think in doing that, one of my friends was asking me the other day. She was like, she almost feels like there should be like a governing body for personal training, and I couldn't agree more. I feel like I almost want Prescript to kind of come out with one and like kind of just be
Yeah.
like, this PT is deemed with it, about it, like,
With
not,
it.
he's just not thick as shit and about
Yeah.
to ruin your life, like take your money and give you nothing in return for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, and just kind of just prove, maybe even just kind of submit some of your client case studies and be like, okay, this client started here, they finished here. And we can I don't even like the word transformation anymore in the way that it's been used sometimes, where this
Yeah.
person's dropped 15 kilos, but they're holding on to life and holding on to the last the hair follicles because they're just stressed out their eyeballs, but they've lost 15 kilos. So what have they really lost? You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, just to fully outline what the service of a personal trainer could be, and then whether that means like a name change. Because sometimes I feel like personal trainer.
Mm.
I don't know if I said this last week on the podcast, but I've definitely said it in this week with clients, where I don't always need to put a barbell in your hands. Sometimes I need to tell you to put the barbell down. And I need to tell you to kind of let's have a sit down and let's have a talk. And let's go from there. Like you mentioned it with what Bilal setting us with this, that, and the other. And I find that he's quite new to the industry, and he's only been a couple of years, and even he's realizing that
Mhm.
it's way, 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 way more than just knowing about joint ranges of motion. You know what I mean? Like that's lovely that you know that, but can we actually have can I am I adept enough to have a conversation with you about life? Because really that's what we're doing. You know what I mean? And that's why it's such a privileged job that we have, because we get to talk to people about their lives. Is there anything more special that we can do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so there's anything we have. But yeah, I definitely think that the industry is going that way. I don't really know what it is to have a reps qualification. Oh yeah, I was talking about this with a mate of mine, and he was saying like he wants to go and get. He's not reps qualified. He's not PT qualified, but he wants to go and see what the standard is for a personal trainer, like
Mm.
to own that title and say like, okay, I can personally train you. It's like, but
Mm.
what do I actually need to go and pass and do and prove to who as well about myself so that I can have this title? Whereas really needs to be much, much more than what we know the standard to be.
Yeah, yeah, fully. Because even now, what happens is the qualification is recognized by our. Well, it was the Registry of Exercise Professionals. Is now they've been swallowed up by a body called CIMSPA, CIMSPA or CIMSA. I can't remember now. I got the email for it. It's just like, yeah, we just got to transfer over your insurance with these people. But essentially, with that body, it's like it's a recognized qualification. And but the thing is, you can still be a PT without it being recognized by this body. So that's the kind of like, it's like you don't even need to have industry recognized qualifications. And because, and at the same time, it's like, as long as it's been around for, it's still difficult for them to track every kind of qualifications, because I've done a bunch of qualifications that ain't recognized with the industry. You know, it's like DNS, NKT, and now Prescript. Animal Flow, I think, might be. I can't remember, but yeah, it's just they're not recognized. But I'm not going to wait for it to be recognized, because I know that whatever I've done is ahead of the curve. So I want to do that because it's the good shit, and it's not because I'm waiting. It's like, oh, is that industry recognized? And yeah, and like there are other like who else was doing it? I can't remember, but Charles is doing it with Prescript, where he's like, yeah, I think he's thinking about having a registry of everyone who's qualified for Prescript on a database, so that anybody who wants a Prescript qualified coach can look them up. And so that's, yeah, sure, yeah. So like Poliquin has that kind of thing. NKT have their own directory as well. As like, if you need an NKT practitioner, like doing neurokinetic therapy, then you can have a look on their website. And I've had people like contact me through that, so that's super useful. And yeah, and like, so in a way, that's its own kind of regulatory system as well. So it's like, if you've qualified Prescript, that means you've shown a base level of competence in being able to deliver a good strength and conditioning program and understanding movement, mobility, stability, and function. And so it would basically be, the recommendation would be to anyone is like, if you want a good PT, go find someone who's done Prescript. And that would be helpful. Instead of being like, oh yeah, exactly. Well, to a good standard. And because the tricky thing is, I wouldn't even know if that's going to be recognized by our current governing body the way that it is. So it's like, if you're going, I've never known anyone to like even look on the website, look at their stuff. It's just purely for trainers and for insurance and stuff like that, which you don't even have to go through. You can just get some general, like, you can get some liability insurance from anywhere. So it's like, yeah, so it's a tricky one where it's so far behind in that respect of having good understanding, like, baseline level of quality, but at the same time is trying to do something about it by, it's like, here's a basic level of anatomy physiology, here's a basic level of nutrition, here's a basic level of weight management and strength programming that you need to be able to qualify with. And yeah, I don't know. There's still gaps and holes in it.
Too right, man. Too right. I think that's to kind of segue a little bit. That's one of the most fun things about what we do, isn't it? Is that we can, like, tomorrow you can double down on the fact that you want to be a PT that works on head game and just kind of being in the right mental state. I think we do that a lot with this podcast, kind of given the name, given the common topics that we discuss. And the same way you could kind of totally avoid yourself of that and go into the like I'm a strength and conditioning coach, and we're going to do plyometrics, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do all that kind of stuff, break out the hurdles, and go crazy. But I love the space in between. That's kind of, I feel like that's where it's really at. You know, I mean, be able to kind of hit somebody on all levels rather than kind of just on one. And I feel like that's if I look at the progression, you'll be able to talk about this differently for yourself. But where is your progression? Where did it start? What were you most interested in day one? And how is that kind of? When did you realize you had to learn different stuff as a PT?
Oh man, almost as soon as I stepped through the doors, it was like it was like, whoa, this is a big bad wild world out here, and where do I want to go? So yeah, it was initially started with, I'm interested. I like this. I want to do something which I like to do, and could I teach it to other people? And I thought, yes, I could, because there's one instance where it comes to mind. I helped a friend out, went to the gym with him, and was showing him proper technique for planking, side planking, all these different core exercises that he wanted to do. And one of the PTs there, this is way before I even left to start working in the fitness industry. And the PT came up to me and was like, you're not supposed to be doing PT sessions here if you're not a PT here. I'm like, I'm not even a PT, mate. So it was always something that I fancied doing. And then, I realized I wanted to teach it. But then when I got in, when I got through to the industry, and a month or so in, just realizing especially being surrounded, luckily there were chiropractors who were in the building that I was at the gym that I was at. So they opened my eyes up to a completely different way of thinking about the functional way of thinking. And I know I've talked about it before as well, where I picked up my own injury innocuously, and I was like, "What the hell was this? Why did this happen?" So this is probably within several months of being a fitness coach, and that completely changed my way of thinking. So then that made me realize that there's a completely different route that I ended up wanting to go down, and so that's what I ended up doing. I ended up taking it down movement, mobility, function, and understanding stability. Basically, understanding good movement as the baseline, and then building up from there. So yeah, it happened pretty early doors for me, and it just blew open the opportunities as well. I was like, holy shit, here's one door that I'm walking through. I didn't realize that behind that one door there were 200 other doors. I could have been somebody who walked through the strength and conditioning door, could have walked through the bodybuilding door, I could have walked through the purely functional movement door, Paul Check door, or just using stability balls, or I could have gone straight down the any other route. And then I realized actually this is where I want to take things. I think it just matches my journey as well. I think there's some integrity and some honesty with that as well, where whichever route I've gone down, it's not because I had to go there. It's because I felt like I wanted to go there and I needed to go there. And there's that level of integrity that comes with that. And there's that level of honest approach, because then it just makes me continue, makes me want to carry on. And then there was also some nutrition books that I got into as well. I started reading, and then that really lit something up in me. Hey, yo, brother.
Sorry, bro.
I just carried on talking, but you're back.
Good man. Sorry about
It's
that.
all good. Yeah, it's all good. I was just saying, I just ended up, I could have gone down any kind of route, but then I ended up picking the route that I wanted to go down because of it just honestly it spoke out to me. So it just kind of matches my journey through health and fitness as well. And then I just saying that I picked up a nutrition book as well, early doors when I started. And I was like, whoa, crap. Okay. There's a whole world of understanding, basic good level of nutrition. And that really lit me up as well. So I always wanted to understand nutrition really well. And so I started realizing that I have that holistic approach. My thing was always movement, mobility, movement, sleep, nutrition, and stress. And how does it all fit into helping somebody optimize themselves and living well. And so, yeah, that's what ended up happening. I ended up walking through one door thinking this is how it is, but then actually having several options after I walked through that door, and then picking one of them, and just that was it. So it was more found out pretty early on that it was there was definitely a different way I could have taken it. And so I've never really actually identified as being a personal trainer right straight off the bat. I've always thought that's a very limiting term.
I like that. Yeah. I was thinking of that similar thing this week. I don't know where to go with a title for it, but like you hear about personal coaches and you hear about kind of like life coach. You go that way. Don't really like those either. But I mean, it's an interesting one, man. It's an interesting one, and I don't know. I kind of had this analogy of like a vision. I described this to TJ once, and he laughed. It was just like you know how you have these like, I don't know how to whether the word dystopian is the right word to use, but like, you know how you say you watch like Blade Runner in the future, right? And everyone's walking around and like.
I just watched 2049 a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay. I've not seen it yet. I need to watch that.
Oh,
I need
man.
to watch that.
Yeah.
Is it good? You recommend it?
Yeah, it's a good film.
Okay, wicked. Right, I'll get on that. So like these futures where like everything's neon and there's like for some reason there's Chinese people everywhere, Chinese girls everywhere, wearing like kind of like wearing like spandex and like latex and stuff. It's like what's going on here, right? Why is everyone's hair pink all of a sudden? When did we decide that was a good thing? It's always raining as well, right? Like it's creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have these futures. Yeah, there you go, right? And it's all like there's a tinge to the screen or whatever. But I envision that in that future there'll be like a hooded figure, and he's kind of like, or they, female, male, whatever. They're a personal trainer, and they kind of like slunk in the shadows, and they're kind of like the person who kind of knows how to cut through the bullshit. I just like the world's kind of what the world is, which is currently what the world is right now, which is weird all over the place. But you have this like, there you go, the hood is coming.
In the shadows.
That's it. That's exactly how I picture it. And just these members of society that can actually like help, but they're just like off in the ether. You know what I mean? Off in the ether, kind of doing their own thing. Man, that's how I kind of see PTs developing, and hopefully we can kind of whatever kind of world we end up living in. That's a vision that I had. And it's funny that I talked to a really good friend of mine. I used to PT with him years ago, and he was saying a similar thing today. He was just like, I feel like people he said to me that people think that he's complicated, but he knows that he's actually very simple in how he does things. His habits are very simple, his behaviors are very simple, and it leads him to live a very simple life. But it's the rest of the world that's kind of actually very complicated. And like in that sense, he feels quite disconnected from a lot of people. But it's that he's not very odd, even though people look at him in a very odd way. It's actually that the rest of the world is very distracted by shiny things here and social media over there. That there's this disconnect. I just thought that was really interesting, man. Really interesting the way he put it.
Yeah, for sure. That is interesting. He's got a different set of values to what the environment or whatever the external
values and behaviors as well. Like behaviors like kind of that you don't need to know how to count macros, but you need to know what's healthy. You know what I mean? Like kind of I'll value that, and I kind of like you said, value. And then behavior is around like make time every day for training, make time every day for breathing work, make time every day for making sure you're affirming your decisions. And like one of the conversations I had today with a friend was about prayer and about like talk about like 3, 4, 5 times a day sometimes standing and praying and kind of being present in the moment. These behaviors and stuff, they're so far and few in between. I think a lot of people would look at someone and be, oh, this is a bit strange, but really the subtext behind it is that I'm just trying to stay on my path, and that I think is super necessary.
Yeah, completely, man. I think it's bullshit as well. For anybody to look at that and be like it's strange, because I think it's just parochial. It's just so narrow-minded, because it's the thing is all that serves a purpose, right? So in using the prayer as an example is like it's not like, so people look at it because we live in a secular society as well, and it's like it's considered a religious thing. Is like actually this goes like religion kind of figured out that this type of practice is actually good for our physiology as well as our mind, and they've just used it and put it into their system, and people use it. But because it's like because we live in a secular world, it's like, yeah, okay, somebody praying 5 times a day, that's, that seems like it's a bit much. What's that? It's just a bit weird for me. It's like, mate, practicing gratitude is the same thing. You do it in your own secular way. It's like it's no different, in fact. So you can't say that that's weird, because if you're somebody who practices gratitude, but you're saying somebody who does prayer is weird, is like you completely missed the point. You have no idea that what you're doing is the same thing as somebody praying. So that kind of stuff bugs me. And then secondly, actually, yeah, when you gave it kind of like an example, is like, you don't have to count your macros, but you have to know what's healthy for you. And there's a lot of people who don't. So yeah, so your mate is probably looked at like, it happens all the time. It's like somebody who changes their lifestyle for the better. They start to get on point with the nutrition, and they're out and they don't want to eat the same things that everybody else is doing. And people get funny about that kind of thing. And because you're just making a better choice for yourself. And that just doesn't wash. Like Hamill was a good example of that. When he came on for episode 21, and he's talking about, he's having a barbecue at his place, but he's got his own food set up, eating differently to everyone else, and everybody's giving him a bit of shit for it. But he's standing strong, and then eventually everybody kind of comes around to the idea that he's making this change, and it's fine. But yeah, that's what happens, and it's easy to make someone crumble with that. And yeah, just looking at him as if he's being weird, but it's like 6 months later, this guy's in the best shape of his life. He feels good about himself. He feels good about life. And he just keeps on getting better. So what is there to shit on, and why is that weird? Why is that considered weird? Is that kind of shit is just, it's so narrow-minded. And I think a lot of it might even be because it shines a light on what that person's not doing so well. It's like a mirror, right? It's like you're seeing somebody trying to do better for themselves. And some of it can come into that sphere of other people's reactions. It can come into a sphere of like envy or jealousy, or just or it makes them feel insecure because you're just showing them what you could actually be capable of, but you're not doing that. But you see somebody who is doing that, and you're just not willing to make the same decisions. And so it's you reflect on that person. You make it seem like they're the weirdo, when really you actually want to be doing the same thing and improving yourself, but you're not.
Too right, man. Too right. I think it's even harder nowadays. I was watching this really cool thing with a guy called James Nestor. You heard
Yes.
of him? The guy who did Breathe. Yeah. He's doing a presentation on like Neanderthal man and how the structure of the bone, especially the skull, has changed over the years. And it's interesting how he's talking about how basically the Neanderthal man's head starts off super big, super muscular cheekbones, big jaw, kind of massive like nasal passages, all these kind of things, right? Maybe think I think I'm a bit of a Neanderthal. Like I'm totally cool with that as well. Like having a big ass nose, I'm just like, yep. My breathing evolution is still on point. Like I'm not devolving like the rest of you small nose people out there. So you take that
Give me-
Bilal. Always gives me shit having a big nose. Take that with your small pipes. Yeah, take that.
That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Take that pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, man. And it was just the thought that the linking it back to James Nestor was that the way we live nowadays, be it in quite a large kind of community and social settings, and then all of that is kind of governed by media and what we see. It's devolved the human to a point where we've become less effective at doing the things that keep us alive. And it's because people don't step outside the status quo enough to be like, I'm going to be a bit different. I'm going to kind of keep a hold of the old ways as the world kind of moves that way. It's fine for certain things to move that way, but not wholly. We shouldn't move that way because it just crumbles us. You know what I mean? It crumbles us. And the way that James was talking about this in the presentation was that he had the skull there, and he was like, yeah, the jaw is just totally retreating in on itself. And this is where we get overcrowding. And this is like kind of through
Crowding of the teeth.
overcrowding the teeth because there's not enough space on the jaw to fit the teeth on. And we're the only animal in the entire animal kingdom that has fucked up teeth. Like there's nothing else. Like you look at dolphins, look at chimps, you look at, I think these are the examples that he gives. Whatever it is, snakes, crocodiles, it's like the only one that has messed up teeth.
Just had a vision of a dolphin going to a dolphin dentist.
As you would like Shocktail, work it at the whale wash.
Yes. I love it when these images come to you, man. You just I was like, yes, you'd never have thought that if you weren't there.
What a great movie that was too, right? Will Smith
It's jokes.
working at the what was it? What was it? Welcome to the whale wash, and the price is oh my gosh! Remember that?
Yeah.
Was you
And then,
sleeping on the phone?
Justin Timberlake did the track and get on the good foot.
Oh, I can't remember that. I remember Christina Aguilera and Missy Elliott doing it.
Yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that? Yeah,
Yeah, they had a whole host of people doing that soundtrack.
I like it, man. I like it. That's sick. Yeah, man. And yeah, we're just kind of thinking about what you said about Hemel there. He's kind of an outlier, stepping outside the boundaries and being like, I'm gonna be here. And then there's the whole host of other people, naysayers, kind of just being like, no, no, don't forget all that. And you hear the noise and you just think like, nah, man, it's not
Yeah.
about that. That's you gotta. Is the whole? Have you seen Lucky Number 11?
Yeah, long time
Yeah,
ago.
it
Fairly
is like the Kansas City Shuffle. And
Yes.
he defines it's like everybody thinks you're going left and you
Yeah.
go right. It's like I love that so much. That's rules to live by, right? The whole
Yeah.
world's kind of looking one way. Oh, I'm going to go that way. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it. Exactly.
gotta be
I
about
think, yeah, yeah. And like, it's like you said it, like setting up a large community and stuff like that. But it's like we don't have a community. It's like it's a city, but it's just filled with people as opposed to
that.
being filled with communities. It's like we're dying for community. People need other people that can they can feel supported by. But yeah, to that point as well. Just yeah, this is the kind of the devolving path we're on in a way as well, where the crazy thing about it is like, okay, the environment, the way we breathe and the way we like don't chew as much of our food anymore. I mean, I've just had like a smoothie throughout the podcast, right? But and our food has got a lot softer, so we just don't use our jaws as much. And then that's actually ends up being a genetic trait that also gets passed on as well. So even though like environments are shaping us, it ends up getting passed on to other to future generations as well. And like it's something like within 3 generations or something, you've got somebody who used to have a solid jaw and has gone like to complete retraction, is overcrowding in the mouth. Your nasal, you can't nasal breathe anymore because of the fact that your jaw is so heavily retracted. And so that has knock-on effects for your ability to be fit, your susceptibility to asthma, to other allergens and stuff like that, because you're not breathing through your nose, you're breathing through your mouth, and that's a problem. And that happens really, really freaking quickly. So it's great. It's like the consequences of the kind of society that we built up, which is it's fantastic. We have all this stuff. We have access to food, and we do also have access to good quality food. For a lot of people, they just got to know what it is and like figure out what it is and start looking for it. And this is where me and you come in. This is why we exist as well. But also having that access makes it so easy for us to be able to destroy ourselves as well, because we've got it in a way where we can make smoothies and we can down those nutrients a lot more effectively than a lot more than we used to. But because we're bypassing one of these basic functions, which is chewing our food, we lose the capacity of our jaws, and that has other knock-on effects. So everything that we do, which is so-called advancing our civilization, there's always, what I'm seeing is there's always a cost to it. It's like, at what cost, and how great is that cost, and how much of a cost are we prepared to put up with it? And we just don't take that into account, because a lot of times we just can't see it coming, because generally everything's just a giant experiment. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could make something where we can blitz our food up, and so that we can make it more easy for us to consume? It's like, yeah, that's on face of it, that's a great idea, and for a lot of people, that's a super helpful and super useful idea. Hence, the birth of the smoothie. But then what have we lost? It's like, okay, we've gone from chewing on average like 3 to 4 hours a day to less than an hour. And that's going to have a knock-on effect. And it doesn't sound like a lot. It doesn't sound like a big deal, rather, because like it's chewing, but your digestion starts in your mouth for your food. And if you're not chewing, we just talked about it as well, where you're not using your jaw properly. If you're not using your jaw properly, it creates overcrowding in your mouth with your teeth. You cause problems for your teeth. So there's a bunch of like orthodontic treatment, which you might have to go through. You can't breathe properly. If you can't breathe properly through your nose, you're going to end up using your mouth, and that has implications for clearing out debris. So nasal breathing helps you clear out debris. Nasal breathing helps you use your diaphragm better, which is a much more efficient way of breathing. It helps you be fitter, helps you absorb more oxygen. I mean, you name it, the benefit of nasal breathing versus mouth breathing. And I think we've talked about it in other podcasts as well. So it sounds like such a small thing, but then it's massive. And like, you know, you can extrapolate that out to like social media, and they've just like, I don't know if you saw it, but on Netflix, they released The Social Dilemma.
We talked about it last week a little bit.
Yeah. So I ended up watching it and I was like, okay, well, you know, there's a bunch of stuff in here that I knew everything that they were talking about. It's like, I guess in a way I was kind of looking for more of the more of a conversation around the moral dilemma. And but really what it was doing was just for people who don't know about it is like, you know, this is how it affects you. This is how it's kind of come about. And there's a responsibility here to course correct on the implications of this. And so, yeah, so again, here's something like this is on a massive scale as well. So here's something that is, you know, it's amazing for society, but at the same time, with that same level of amazingness, there's the other side of it, which is, you know, highly, highly detrimental when it's not kept in check. And you know, in that they're talking about the responsibility lies with the companies who are creating this stuff. It's like, yeah, you can externalize that responsibility because of the fact that they're kind of helping create these problems, but also I always see it just comes right back to the individual, and then who is surrounded by the individual, i.e. the family, is just your ability to create an environment where that doesn't have to rule anybody, and that's the tricky part. And so, and I think that's where, like, you know, I always say it, like, I think that's where it first rests, is like with the individual and then with the family of that individual, whoever that individual surrounds themselves with, rather than trying to put the blame, or rather than put the responsibility on where the problem came from. Because, okay, yeah, sure, they should take responsibility, just like, you know, you and I take responsibility in delivering something safely for our clients. It's not just, hey, I'm going to put you on a watt bike for like 20 hours this week and, you know, watch them get fucked up and be like, oh, it's because you didn't follow the program. It's like, no, there's a certain level of responsibility and safety that's baked into what we do. We have to. And it's the same thing for these guys, but also got to take the responsibility on for yourself as well. And when it comes to that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it's just like, you know, we've got a smaller scale, like, okay, here's the great thing of, you know, creating something where we can make a smoothie, but there's a cost to it as well. But then here's the bigger scale. We've created something which is like social media, which is great, but then also, given how great it is, it's also can be pretty damn fucked up as well. And it's just, yeah, it's just something to, I think that's always a question we have to ask, is like, okay, if we create something so great, what's the potential cost to that? And it's just so hard to do that because you can't see every angle coming, but in a way you can prepare by saying, okay, there's probably going to be something fucked up. We just got to see what the potential for that is. Or we just got to understand there's a potential for that and then be able to address that when it comes up. Because because I try and relate it back to things that I know about and things I can do. And one of them is, you know, dealing with clients. Is like, okay, if I give them this type of exercise, let's say, and I can see what the progressions for these are, and I know that they're doing better and better and better if they fulfill this kind of criteria. But what is the potential cost of doing this exercise? And I always have to weigh that up. Always have to be thinking about that, and always be happy that the benefit far exceeds the risk. Because there's always going to be a risk from doing any kind of activity, but it's also, given the person I have in front of me, I've weighed that up based on what I've assessed with you, what you've told me, the kind of state that you're in, and being like, okay, yeah, we're good to progress on this. And no, we're not good to progress on this. We have to regress it. And so, yeah, it's part of that, part of seeing, not having rose-tinted glasses on all the time, basically, and just always analyzing the flip side of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's almost like the TV's on, but you got the remote in your hand. And
Yeah.
you don't need to watch. You can just change the channel. But people are kind of there just drinking the Kool-Aid 24/7. And it only takes one person to drop the ball in the village for everyone to get the cooties, right? It's like, stop, like, get that guy out of here. Like, have a word with him. He's dropping the ball. and we're all messed up now. Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. And I kind of what you said there was like, what's the cost of doing this? And it almost makes me think like, how busy should we be? And like, you can
Mm.
almost qualify yourself to warrant being more busy. It's like TJ and I have talked about this in the past, where we can do 70 hours a week of personal training, but is the quality of what you're delivering good? No. Is
Exactly.
the quality of your sleep good? No. Are you be able to meal prep anything more than cream of rice and whey protein? No.
Yeah.
Are you able to sleep and recover? No. Is your own training going anywhere? No. So it's okay. Well, we've pushed the envelope in one way so far that it's negatively. It's like the Shadows uses it in one of his breakdowns of like the shoulder, when he says like, okay, if we reduce um, spinal extension, your ability to access all the other components of shoulder movement are now reduced because that one place is massively reduced. And it has a knock on effect. Because the same
Mhm.
thing applies. Like if you massively increase one area, you're pulling from the other areas to do so. So it's like
Yeah.
you're just drowning the other pools out to feed this big well. Um,
Yes.
and that you can optimize this. It's not. I'm not trying to say like everyone just stop doing what you're doing and never start again, right? But if you can prove to yourself and even like line up the other things in your life that you know you need to do. I know this. I'm not a prime culprit of this. I take on so many clients that want to work with me, and I'm happy to do so. But sometimes I get a bit busy. Sometimes I want to prioritize my training as well because I don't believe in personal trainers that don't push their own envelope hard.
Mhm.
And then okay, this client's program needs writing. So shit, we're a bit behind with this, or this new person wants to come for a consultation, or you have to now you have to rearrange and think on the spot. All these things can come up, but the more we can actually like get a proper handle on certain things, the less we have to sacrifice in the moment to do all things. You know what I mean,
Mm. Yes.
it's a proper lesson for me, firstly, because I'm talking about before we came on air, like having your charger set, having this there, having that set, and in doing other projects that we talked about, other things fall by the wayside, and it's just about
Mm.
optimization and realizing, like you said, the cost of pushing the boat out in one means is going to mean that, oh, I forgot your birthday, I'm sorry, like, but
Yeah.
you can only do that so many times. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you become bad at remembering things that are actually important because you've
Mm.
now singularized your focus so much that you're already good for one thing, and that
Mm.
in a human context is bullshit. You know, we need to hold on to the goal that we have, which is like, I think it's a kind of it's almost like some people look at like nature documentaries and be like, oh, dolphins can't wire plugs. It's like, well, dolphins are busy being dolphins. They're cool with that shit. They got there and was like, this is sick. I'm staying here. You know what I mean? Whereas human beings have kind of like had the intellect to be like, oh, let's go over here. Let's start fire. Let's go carry on. It's like, yeah, cool, but don't lose the shit we had. You know, because that stuff is still pretty sick. You know what I mean? Especially when we talk about like the way our bodies move and how everything, all that other stuff happens. I almost feel like there'll be, you know, you see like you watch Star Wars and they're at the market and they're like Qui-Gon Jinn's trying to buy Anakin off the slave trader, and there's all these weird and wonderful creatures that kind of wandering around, and that's
Mm.
human beings. That's human beings. I had this joke with my client once. You ever been to Oxford Street?
Yeah. Yeah.
You been to Primark on Oxford Street?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Isn't it like the airport scene from Men in Black?
Yeah.
I walk into that place and I'm just like, what is this? Where did these people come from? How are these even real? Like,
Yeah.
like that guy's got 6 eyes. She's got like friggin' legs as long as my entire torso. Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, this is super weird, right? And it just shows like the duality of people. And I don't even know where the fuck they've come from, but we're so different in what makes us up. At the same time, we need to keep true to some of the things that we are. You know what I mean? Rather than kind of just devolving off into these weird little branches. This person's like working 40 hours a week, sat down at a desk. So he like Shadow says, becomes the shape of your sport. Like that's his
Yeah.
sport. He's a desk jockey. Like this is what a desk jockey looks like. And then over
Yep.
here, you've got somebody who runs marathons, and obviously they've gone that way as well. But again, I'm going off on a tangent. But it's like, what is the best? What is the most optimal thing for all of us to do? Well, we have a balance of a lot of it and not kind of push the boat out super far. And if you are going to push the boat out, then kind of make the rest of the people around you kind of aware that you're about to do this and do it with a bit more control.
Yeah, exactly. And like, optimum is dependent on what goes on in that person's life as well. It's like, because there's, there's, it's like, I wonder how far you can take this. It's like, what's optimum, like on both ends of the scale? I feel like you're a supreme athlete versus being somebody who's obese. Is like, well, for somebody who's obese, what's the optimum? It's like, it's
So many
like,
variables, right? Go
yeah,
on.
exactly. I'm just like, yeah, it's somebody. If you want to stay there, then it's just to keep eating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's your optimum. So just like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like it's on a sliding scale as well. It's like, okay,
Optimum by whose definition, right?
that's it
Yeah,
exactly. It's
yeah.
like, do you want, like, if you're talking about being optimum in a human definition, is like, I don't think. I mean, there's some play there, but it's not a lot. It's just basically you got to be healthy and you got to be in shape. Just
Yeah.
a natural life, because to the extent that this is what we know is the best way to live in terms of how our body feels, looks, moves, um, and navigates its way through the environment that it's in. And yeah, I mean, that's, to be honest, man, that's a whole other question as well. Like, what is it to be naturally optimum? Because that, I think, natural is the definition is kind of shifting. There's variations of it as well, because it is natural to consume. It's like it's heavily processed, like, but the food is coming from a natural source. Like, if we're talking about potato crisps or something, like, or commercially bought potato crisps, or like, Pringles. That's a better example. It's like they've got all this like fucking list of ingredients when really it should be just potato chips, a bit of salt, and something it's fried in. But then there's the other end, which is I could just actually have a potato. That's like, that's as natural as that thing gets, because that's what it is. That's what it's like from the ground. And then yeah. So the conversation around what is optimum is like, okay, is what's optimum for an athlete, and then is what's optimum for every, like for other people, and based on what is it that you're trying to achieve as well, because an athlete might have to do some things which aren't optimum for a human being. So for me, I like kind of try and cut through that a little bit by being like, okay, it's optimum to be a human being like this, and then we can play with the other variables, which is, if you're an athlete, then okay, you need to do athlete things. If you're a jiu-jitsu player who likes to play off his back, and you spent 4 hours of training there, okay, well, I better get you comfortable being on your back in a flexed spine position often, whereas that's not what a regular human being, well, a good functioning human being is going to want to spend a lot of time in. Or even more simply, is like you said, a desk jockey is like, their body's going to be in that flex position a lot more often, and it's not ideal for the body. It's about having access to other movements. So try and make it so that they can bear that position better, but also be able to function like a human being as well.
That's it, man. That's it. Then that's the kind of the final nail in that coffin, is that be the human first, and
Yes,
then whatever hat you want to wear, go wear it. But
mm-hmm.
let's not lose our humanity in doing what we want to do, right? Because that's just sad, right? You kind of like, back to that kind of like, everyone's different, but like, when you start showing the examples of skulls, and like you think, oh fuck, this is not good. This is not
Yeah,
good. Like, kind of, yeah, we want to have quick meals, and we want to run the clock 24/7. But
mm-hmm.
let's not. Come on, guys. Like, kind of, can we all just decide, like, this is enough money, this is enough thing, this is enough that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I don't know whether that's kind of asking some social questions that I shouldn't be asking, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
really know what I'm asking about. But yeah, just kind of let's not flex on our being so hard that it starts to devolve and we start to have other issues later on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, man. I don't think, I think there's never anything that shouldn't be asked. You should always be able to have that open conversation, have that discourse. Otherwise, if you don't, then we just kind of, we screw ourselves up. We don't realize how much is left on the table if we're not able to have conversations, even if it's about controversial stuff. It's just you got to be able to have a conversation about it.
Yeah, man.
But I think that's a good place to leave it. Be the human first.
Yeah, buddy. Love it.
Respect, man. That was great.
Out there, man. That was fun, man.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, exactly. Hope everybody enjoyed it. As you got a word for our listeners, bro?
Right now, I hope you're just enjoying the show. 25 episodes in. That's some reps, bro. That's some reps.
That
We've done a
is,
few sets of this now. We're getting phase 2, phase 3 qualified. I like this.
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
enjoying this. I have a great time. Whenever we're on, it's lovely. It's thought provoking, and it sets me up well for the week. Hopefully, it
Yeah.
does the same for our listeners. I'm gonna try and be more active on social media, kind of just talking about what we talk about. I know, G, you started posting up some clips on YouTube, which I love. They're cool, little digestible, bite-sized chunks of our podcast. So yeah, let us know what you think of that. Let us know what you thought about some of the common themes, our like embarrassing stories, and and how they make us feel afterwards. And yeah, I love the segue of how we kind of transitioned. I remember thinking at the time when you kind of pulled it over, that was super smooth. And I can't remember how you did it now, but we just kind of just like slipped on over to like more serious chat, more like we're adults now.
Yeah.
We don't fall over and get darts stuck in our face anymore. Like,
Yeah. Oh, bro, that's gonna be a great soundbite. I think when you, you shot myself in the throat. I'm like, everybody hears that, they go, "What the hell just happened? What are you talking about?"
let's get that going. Clickbait right there. Let's go. Drive the
100%.
views. Pop them up. No more rookie numbers. Let's go.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's a good shout. So for our listeners, for our viewers, we've got podcast clips. That's a little playlist on the channel that you can find. The channel is Gurinder Sandhu Coaching, but if you searched Evolve, Achieve, Thrive in YouTube, that should come up. And yeah, so we've got some clips coming up, like stuff that we posted on Instagram. We've got them on YouTube as well. So yeah, keep following us, guys. For those of you who haven't yet, subscribe to the show and get the weekly update for the episodes. Tune in, tell us what you think, and yeah, if you feel free to share it with people who you think could do with hearing a conversation, and just tag us in it as well. It'll be great to get your input and know that you're enjoying what we're putting out for you.
You're right. Much appreciated for the listen, guys. Speak
Yeah,
to you soon.
big time.